The Dode Fox Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Dode Fox Podcast. I'm Ronnie, he's Paul, and it's time to look back on the 25-26 season. Thank you so much to everyone for the support this season, buying coffees, merch, coming to the live show and listening to this nonsense on a weekly basis. On the pitch, consolidation for a team as the Premiership side. You can like, subscribe, click the notification bell on YouTube. Support the pod, buymeacoffee.com/Dode Fox Podcast. Listen at dodefoxpodcast.com and follow us on social media. We're at Dode Fox Podcast.
Coming up on this week's episode, we'll get our teeth into the season just finished, take a look through the highs and lows, round up our thoughts on the past 12 months and what we hope to see happen over the summer and onwards under Jim Goodwin. Before we get going, though, we have to thank some more people that have bought coffees this week. Dr. Heelis bought 2 coffees. Big thanks to you guys for doing the pod again this season. Always a must listen, and it keeps me, mostly, sane on all things United. Enjoy the well-earned break. A few things gorgeous Jim should already be sorting for next season, though. 1, a new keeper. Another Benji type would do nicely. 2, get the goalkeeping coaches down to Man City or Liverpool to see what they're doing, because ours are making the same mistakes over and over. 3, bring in an experienced centre-half to help develop the younger lads. 4, adopt a formation that puts less pressure on the defence. Already looking forward to the summer transfer chat on the terrace. John S. bought 3 coffees. United fan living in London. Brightened up my Monday mornings all season. Thanks for the pod and keep me connected to the team. Roll on 2026-27 season. The Peter Paul enthusiasts bought a coffee. Big thanks for the podcast, especially Paul's free therapy rants after a defeat. Enjoy a well-earned break, lads. Patrick Joyce bought 3 coffees. Thanks for getting me through the ups and downs of my 63rd season supporting the world-famous Dundee United. Roll on 64, arabesque and shed rule as always. And Paul Kelly bought 3 coffees. Keep that in, please, Rondo. Keep up the great work, lads. Shed rule.
So welcome back to the award-winning Dode Fox Podcast with always on his holidays, Paul McNichol, and ready for his holidays, Ronnie Costello. So, Paul, here we are, another season over. Will you miss the Kinross services?
I will, yeah. I may even make a point of just going out there for a constitutional, just have a weekend. Why not? Why not?
I know.
But our guests to look back on the 25-26 campaign are DUTV's Scott Simpson and Dave Hill. So thank you both for being here. And to start, let's get a look back at your time following United. We've spoke to Dave previously, so we'll go with Scott. When did it all start for you?
First of all, thanks for having me on, gents. It started for me back, Aberdeen born, so I wasn't as close to it. And it was probably my formative years watching Scott sports scene. Something about the colours clicked. So probably earliest memories would have been mid-80s, vaguely the 85 Cup final. And then really that just transformed, and by 87 it was a delight to watch the games on TV, and the European one was going. So that was as it was for me. My first United game would have been probably at Pittodrie, taken by my dad, my uncle, my granddad. Used to take myself, my brother along to Pittodrie now and again. So it would have been in the home end watching United in there. So that would have been the early exposure, other than what was on the box, which was night and day to a lot of what we see nowadays in terms of top-level European quality.
Are you the only Arab in the family then?
I am indeed. I think it was just something about fancying being different back in the age, which probably sounds daft, having been from Aberdeen, growing up around the time that they were winning trophies left, right and centre as well. And I think it was just the colours. I think it was no kind of idol stands out in those first few years in my head in terms of a player that I really, really liked and idolised at that point in time. That probably came more, as I started watching United more a couple of years later on.
You got a favourite game? Even from that time or from this time? Just so many?
Quite a few for different reasons. And it's strange. I mean, obviously the big wins over the years are are the outstanding ones. But there's some kind of quite niche ones. I remember being at school. I think it was being about 14 or thereabouts. Going to Pittodrie with some of my mates. There's kind of a few of it at school, supported different teams. But in the Markland Road end at Pittodrie, thinking about leaving, thinking it was drifting out into a 0-0, and big dunk at the other end goes in, comes up in the last couple of minutes. So I managed to curtail the euphoria and then sprint up Markland Road, celebrating just to go with my mates as we were leaving.
Dave, you've obviously been on before, and you've got a year or two on us. Could you remind us of your first game that you went to see United?
More than a year or two, I suppose, but a year or two is happy for me. Yeah, way back, long before much TV coverage. 1968 was my first game. It was a game against Hearts. And I just thought all games were going to be like that after that one. It was a 5-6 defeat for United that day. Leading 5-4 in the 75th minute. We missed a penalty. Finn Seaman missed that penalty that day. And Hearts scored 2 late goals to go through in the Scottish Cup. That was the day, or one of the times, where both Dundee and United had played on the same Saturday. United had the 2 o'clock kick-off and Rangers were visiting Dens at 4 o'clock. So, amazing fact to be. And I thought that was a pretty rare occurrence, but maybe this is almost bordering on a Dode Fox podcast. I think there's been about 20 odd games like that where they've both played on the same day, but it must have been a way back before the enthusiasm of fans to meet each another and greet each another on the same street sort of put an end to that. But yeah, it was an amazing game, a lovely sunny day for February that I remember. My dad took me to that game and never looked back since.
Did the Major play in that game?
Yeah, he did. He scored, actually.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
George
Not that I
Fleming
was there, obviously, but I do remember.
Yeah, George Fleming was a substitute for Hearts. He came on that day. Yeah, it was Doug Smith. It was the era of Doug Smith and that. It was fantastic. I didn't really take it in till later on, and I saw highlights later on. You get them on YouTube and that. But yeah, it was a fantastic day, and you know, to see 11 goals in one game and a missed penalty, you know, we're bordering on that sometimes.
This must be like this every week. It must be class.
No chance.
We've obviously, let's say, I think we've all discussed and been through it at different times, you know, watching United win things, lose things, and it's just the highs and lows of the pure roller coaster of it. But obviously, in more recent times, you two have done it for a totally different spectator point by calling the action as the commentators on DUTV. Scott, we'll start with you. How did you get involved with DUTV?
You say recent years. I think this past season has been my 20th.
I was being nice. I was being nice.
So I originally started out back in maybe early 2000s. I think a lot of the clubs had partnered with, I think it was Premium TV they were called, or things like that. So you used to get, you know, all the websites, clubs in England, and then a few up here. It looked very much like a template website, and it had the behind paywall media stuff. At the time, I was doing match reports for the website for United. There was a pool of about 6 of us that kind of rotated games and had a rota that shared it out amongst us, and that had come because I'd done similar for the A90 Arabs website a few years before that. So they wanted something on the website as match reports. I volunteered. I had that experience. Derek Robertson was on the board, and we all know Derek was so massive for United fans and that link between the club and the fans. So that, yeah, being brutally honest, he was saying media seems like the way to go, but the fees that Premium TV were after for a club like United, they struggle to break even out of it. So they thought about doing their own thing, try to go solo and just get volunteers in. again, playing in the garden with my brother when I was young, I had vague memories, as probably all of us did, commentating when you're messing about and that. I said, never done it, but if you can't find anyone that's willing to put their hand up, I'll do it and see what it's like. Probably never be any use at it. Probably just take a matter of time until somebody comes along with the right experience and signs up. So at that point in time, it was Mark had volunteered to do the filming. Mark McCreary, Joe Rice, I think, had maybe put his name in the mix, but he was still refereeing, so he wasn't able to do every week at that point in time. First time it was just, you really just see how it would play out. It was a Starks Park pre-season friendly, 2 dictaphones with time mics clipped on, highly professional stuff for Joe and myself just to sit at the table and talk through the game. And that kind of morphed into then highlights, and over time the technology was there to start doing it live. So that's how I got into it. Always felt that they'd get somebody that had a proven track record coming along and saying, yeah, I quite fancy that. And I think the club have at times put messages out asking for volunteers, and for one reason or another, there's not been too many. So that's how I got into it, and it's kind of stuck. It feels strange now. There's a couple of times I've watched United games without commentating on it now, and it's a strange feeling. You've learned how to kind of try and temper the emotions, remove both ends of the spectrum too much.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first games that you both worked on together?
Oof.
What would your first game have been, Dave?
It was Rangers away. Wasn't the best of games. I didn't do too well.
Baptism of fire.
2011, yeah. Scott was standing at the back, just watching what was going on, just prompted me now and again. But yeah, it was real in the deep end. But it was good. You know, I did hospital radio with Bridge FM for a little while before I went to Budapest to work. When I came back, the option was, you know, looking for some volunteer commentator. So I thought I'd go and see what it's like. But going to Dens for 1 week in Paradise and actually wasn't really for me. So to get a Paradise and away games with United was much more appealing.
How long was that you've been doing it then?
So about 2011, Ronnie, it wasn't too far. I came back in 2010, so it was probably a year or so later.
Oh, so 15, you're 15 and 20, so...
It's testimonials due here, Rondo.
Then I got me started.
It's got to be.
I didn't know a shot.
Exactly.
Well, and here's another question about that then. Do you guys enjoy when, like, if one of you is not able to do it, and maybe like a Will Ferry or a Sean Dillon's also working alongside you the days, are they any different? Are they good and enjoyable for you?
It's different depending on the personality of the player. So there's some that take to it very easily. I mean, Sean Dillon is excellent. I can't remember if he'd maybe done a couple of games on radio or something as a guest or as a pundit for Sky or something before he'd done one with myself. And obviously through COVID he was doing more, but he's an absolute natural for it. There's one or two over the years that have maybe been a wee bit nervous, not sure, and quiet. But there's some that are pretty good. So trying to think, the last one I think was Louis Moult. It would have been, was it Paisley? I think it was,
yeah, Sidman
game. I think that was the last player that was on co-coms with me, and yeah, it's great to get that insight from them at times. I think thankfully none of them have said anything they shouldn't when they've been on with me, because I think that would be the panic moment if one of them was dropped a clanger. But I think we've avoided that so far.
Yeah, well, I did with Andy McClam, Hibs semi-final at Hampden during COVID, and the beeper button was going that night, I'll tell you. Andy let it up, yeah. But yeah, it's good. Just like Scott says, they see the game differently to us. As much as we like to think we see it, they're seeing what's happening in training, all the set plays. They know players are running, and then they'll say, did that training this week, did that last week, that kind of thing. And it's amazing that they see it totally different to us, which is great. And as Scott says, we both worked with Sean a couple of times. He's been on the third mic, and he brings a different aspect into that commentary.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll touch on it as we go through with some of the games that we'll bring up, but we'll take ourselves to the summer before we look back. Paul, you remember how you felt in those opening episodes of the podcast last year when we were getting excited before, during the 14 players that came in throughout the summer?
Yeah, well, there was a level of excitement, because it's like always when you bring in guys that you haven't heard of, and we knew there was going to be a big turnover, and as you just touched on there was 14 in total, but like we were excited, and we were looking forward to seeing what the season was going to bring. Plus we knew, like, within a couple of weeks of the start of the season, we were going to be in European action, so it was exciting times.
Yeah, 14 players came in. We'll obviously touch on them as we go through it, and then what their impact was like a bit later on. But Scott, for you as commentator, how much kind of prep work do you need to go through when new players are signing?
It's, as Paul says, when they're names that you've not necessarily heard of before, it's a bit of a Google fest of trying to find clips, trying to see even just pronunciations of names and things like that. It's sometimes a heck of a job. And then it's basically just trying to read quotes. So I know that we'll touch on certain players, but at the time that they're signing, you maybe get a little quote from the manager or something like that about what he sees in that player that you'll bring to the team and things like that. So you try and bear that in mind and think, okay, what kind of player are we looking at here? Is it a no nonsense centre half? Is it a ball playing centre half? Well, a lot of the time you maybe think it's one thing based on those quotes, and as the season goes on, it differs. I mean, even Zach Sapsworth, when he came in, I think a lot of us, despite what we read, thought, right, a new number 9, and he gets the number 9, but most of the season he's played as one of those little kind of rolls off the front, coming in from wide into the areas behind the number 9. So even from the quotes ahead of that, you kind of often left with something different in your mind. I think the Oldham game was the first game that we did for DUTV this year, and I think it probably took about 10 minutes before I turned to Dave and said, yep, Ukrainian Steve Dykstra.
He wasn't shy. Pronunciations are fun, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when we had quite a few options for Vishko's name till we actually spoke to him one night in the Heggie Lounge, and we got it right from the horse's mouth. So it was good to be the only commentators that were calling him by the right name when he was on TV.
Yeah, especially when the manager still calls him a totally different thing.
just the way to say that, he still goes Savells, doesn't he?
Means he doesn't care, eh? He just calls it as it's written.
There's still 3 or 4 that come up regularly when games are on TV and radio.
Yeah,
It's something of a bugbear of ours, because down south the Premier League do all the thing with they get every player from every club standing up saying their own name, and it kind of goes on a central media website and portal for everyone to get access to. So yeah, it'd be great if it was something like that up here, because it's not just the United players that cause that problem either.
It's be so handy. I mean, it's quite good that because we're so close on the gantry, though, you can speak to the other team, like their analysis or their social media people, and get a bit of clearance. Because it's good for us to know. But the amount of people that have said to me, "How do you pronounce it?" It's Chevet. Is that like regardless what Jim Goodwin says? Telling you, me and Dave accosted him in the Heggie one night and asked him to tell us, and that's how we stuck with that. Yeah, I'm sure he'll come up as we go. But let's start with the summer. We'll bundle June and July together because that was a bit of a warm up, a European starter, first look at a new squad. We went to Brecon, drew at Arbroath. We went to Holland, we drew with St Johnstone, and then, as you mentioned, Scott, 0-0 at home to Oldham. Ross Graham was named as captain, then Tories Hammy, all before the proper stuff got going. We were doing a Strassen at Tannadice, a 1-0 win. Another 1-0 away from home to get through the tie. No spectacular, no exactly thrill a minute, but professional. And at that point, Paul, we're thinking, right, we're in Europe, the squad's new, we've got through the first tie, maybe the season's got a bit of a platform.
Yeah. I mean, it was far from a glittering start. I can remember certainly the first half against Una Strassen. It wasn't particularly brilliant. And me, I can vividly recall saying to my old man at half time, I would take Sapsford off. He's done nothing. And then it was just a matter of minutes into that second half, and he wrong foots the keeper, and he goes on to have a pretty good game. But the few players at that point that were standing out, like one of them was Bert. Like Bert looked good in pre-season. He looked excellent, and like Scott and Dave, when they commentated on their first game of the season, the Oldham game, Papo looked unbelievable in that Oldham game. So there was definitely shoots of positivity within the team that you could look and think, right, there's the makings of something good happening here. And when it came to the Una Strassen game, I know that they weren't very highly rated, but it was just a case of get the job done and move on from there, because obviously there was going to be bigger fish to fry once they were out the way.
Europe's a different kettle of fish, even up in that gantry, Scott, isn't it? It's just something different about it.
Absolutely. Is it? Most of the time in terms of these ties, then it's like UEFA take over everything because there's so many stipulations of what is needed to be there for media access and things like that. We were shunted along unknowingly. We turned up for the Una Strassen game and we were in a different position because it wasn't going through DUTV. It had been picked up by a production company, and lo and behold, Dave and I were doing comms for basically an online service for anyone, not just DUTV. But yeah, I remember that first half with Una Strassen. There was a couple of quite scary moments at the back. I think there was a bit of a mix-up early on, and you were thinking, God, this is going to be another one of those great United. We find a way to shoot ourselves in the foot. But yeah, definitely at that point in time, you're thinking 1-0, great. Let's go over there and see if we can keep the back door shut.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Dave, it's like, even though it's the European game, it's the first of the real games as such, but you've got the fan side of it as well. You're trying to do your job as well, but it's seeing new players and getting exciting to see what they can bring to the team.
Yeah, definitely. There's a different feel in the European games. Going back to the 80s, 90s, the European games were constantly, and people were picking and choosing. I know I did. Pick and choose which ones you want to go to, because you knew United were going to go to quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. Because they were that good, they were right on the spot. Now, getting in the early stages against some of these teams you've never heard of before, we're not playing the Real Madrid or a well-known name. We're playing a team that we've got to go and dig some info on them. So these games, have their own bit of trickery around them. But like you said, bringing new players in, only seeing a few games with them, probably playing in different formations and in different groups. They were never settled. And just to get through was the key thing, as Paul said earlier there. Get through the first stage of it and see how it goes. And that was the feeling I got with Una Strassen. I didn't think they were that great, but, they were still there to be beaten, and we had to do that. And we got through it in the end.
Yeah, and Paul, just getting through those European sort of games and what could come next, but at the same time, he didn't know a team, especially for punters. Like, when we didn't know a team, it's the biggest banana skin going, and then when it's only 1-0 at home, nerve.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And when the draw's made, everybody's probably looking at that thinking, certainly from outside of Tannadice, looking inwards and thinking that's an easy game. Which on paper, I suppose, I know that there's any easy games, but we should have and were the favourites in that. But that itself brings a certain level of pressure, I would imagine, when you're Jim Goodwin, and you're at that point in the season trying to merge all these new players that had never met each other 4 weeks previous. You're trying to get them into a cohesive unit to see off this lowly ranked team. But it was, as we've all said, like, it was a case of job done.
Yeah. Moving into August, that was the start of the league campaign, the League Cup quarter-final, UEFA Conference League. 6 games, 11 goals scored, 11 conceded. We're at Falkirk away in the league, 2-2 draw, 2-2 away to Rapid. Hearts came to Tannadice, they won 3-2 pretty late on. Rapid came to Tannadice, it's 2-2 again, went out on penalties, Kilmarnock knock us out the League Cup 2 at Rugby Park. Just as the mood's maybe starting to feel a wee bit heavy, we'll go to Dens, win 2-0. August gives us a bit of everything. Europe, heartbreak, cup exits, defensive chaos, goals, a derby win. It's probably the first sign of the season we're about to get, Paul.
It was, yeah. And like when I've watched back in preparation for this episode of the podcast, when I've watched back, you could see in the highlights of these games the defensive frailties that kind of remained all season. But we looked so promising. I think we all felt, we could have done with a slightly easier game to kick off the season, because we knew that we were just coming back from Europe. We then had to go to high-flying Falkirk. It was never going to be easy, and we got a decent result there. And then obviously you've got the Rapid games, Hearts in between that. It was very difficult. And if you jump past the Rapid game where we went out and like the emotional ending to that one as well, to have to go down to Kilmarnock, a place where we're just no very good, we just didn't have a good record, to go there a couple of days after that European exit, we all knew that was going to be tough as well, regardless of how their season panned out in the end. So when you got to the end of that month, to actually to win a derby, it kind of gave you a bit of a lift up, because you were seeing certain good signs within the team, albeit you were still thinking, right, okay, the defence, once it gels, once we get to know each other a wee bit better, hopefully we will then progress to be what we all think we can be. So the derby was a bit of a lifter for the mood.
You went to Vienna, Scott, didn't you?
No, I went to Luxembourg.
Luxembourg.
It was the Unistrassen game. I didn't.
What was it like?
I watched that.
What was it like for you, as enjoying it plus trying to prepare for a job essentially?
I mean, going back to the 2010 through to 2012 or whatever, I'd done European games with United then as well. So that time it was a lot more closer to the kind of the playing, coaching staff. So there was less chance to enjoy the surroundings, shall we say, of everything. So it was up to the ground and the training sessions and the press conferences and back to the hotel and everything else. This time I was in with the kind of the corporate. So there was a different hotel for the kind of the corporate customers that had gone across with United. So I was in there. So a bit of work to do in the afternoon once we got in. And then it was a case of, right, you get out, found a pub that was not too far away. United fans all over the place. It was great. Great atmosphere. A nice place as well, it must be said. It was a nice place to go in terms of Luxembourg City. And then the travel through about an hour or so, I think it was, through to where the game was. Lovely place. United fans were in. Again, when you're winning, it always is going to be a good atmosphere. But very nice place, good atmosphere. United fans were enjoying it, and you get through. That's the main thing. There was a heck of a rush to get to the airport. I think that was the thing. United's flight back, I think it was about there was a curfew on the airport, so I think had the game gone to extra time and penalties, there was no way that flight was taken off until the next morning. So it would have shelved all the plans of what was happening for the team the next day and everything else. So I think post match it was a little bit of a rush, get everyone on the buses and get out and up to the airport.
Class. I mentioned August, Dave. Chaos overall. Europe Cup exit, derby win. Is it exciting? Is it worrying? Or is it both? That what we've seen?
I think it's the unknown, Ronnie. You're not really sure what's going to happen. You go in with a positive mental attitude, and it's soon knocked out of you quickly in some of these games. So it's difficult to recover. I'm probably a bit more emotional than Scott. Scott's the one that keeps the party pretty much on an even keel. I tempt myself to be pretty much on the edge with some of the commentary, but that's just the way I've done it, and I can't really tell lies when I see something that's not doing right, or vice versa. If United are playing really well, in my mind, I'll say that. But if they're not playing that well, I don't sugarcoat it. I can't. It just doesn't come out right. Doesn't sound right. But But Scott manages to carry that so much easier than me. And we make a good team in terms of that. I over-exuberate, as you could probably remember. Scott still pulled me up about it. The double from Lawrence Shankland. I don't know what happened that day. It was just one of these things.
It gets emotional. That's what it's like. I suppose the big thing for one of the Vienna games away from home, Paul, was that's wouldn't have seen much of him, but Papo, that was him injured. He's done.
Got it. Yeah, got it. And obviously we'd only, what did he play, 3-4 games for us or something, but he looked like he was going to be absolutely fantastic for us. And I also think in Goodwin's defence, because the midfield at times didn't look like it was working over the course of the season until Mane comes in, but we'll get there. But I think Papo was such a key part to Goodwin's plans. Like, he was going to be the guy that was going to do everything that was required, and it was going to be asked of other midfielders that stepped into the breach when he wasn't there. So yeah, we all knew it was a blow at the time, but we probably didn't really appreciate just how big a blow it was to the team for a good few months.
Yeah, he certainly looked the part early on. You mentioned that, sandwich in European games, but obviously Hearts came to Tannadice. They scored, we scored again, they scored, and you're thinking, after a European game, I'd have probably taken a point, and then it was the European hangover, because I'm saying it's a real thing, but it was gutted in the last minute. The fan in you comes out as well, but you're gutted, Dave. You're just gutted.
Yeah, I never saw that coming. I didn't see that result. The crazy penalty to give away, and then losing goals from set pieces, which, we brought in big centre halves. That was really their number one duty, was to head those balls clear. But for some reason, we didn't put two and two together. Crosses coming into that box should have been meat and drink to Yovo, to Kerestesh, maybe not so much for Berry's a shorter in height, but I thought he marshalled it in the early part of the season pretty well. But allowed Hearts to go maybe 3 points. They should never have had that day.
No, and it's been mentioned, Scott, it didn't seem to like Rugby Park.
No, and I think in the aftermath of what had happened on the Thursday night, I think we could all see what was going to come then. Out in Vienna, it probably surprised many how well we did over there. Home games, Falkirk and Hearts. Looking back on that now, and you look, there's a pattern of the season, can't hold on to a lead. You get yourselves ahead and you can't see it out. That home game, it's strange, because what came to mind in the aftermath was the Mupa game. It's a very similar 2-0 up. Concede a couple in the second half. Thankfully, there was no Paul Ritchie with his hand in there this time. But coming out of that, it felt totally different to that Mupa game, because I think we recognised how close we were actually making a mark on something against a pretty good team. But the whole team had put so much into that, and then the emotions of getting so close and going out and going down to Rugby Park, I think that was always going to be. I think there was a couple of players maybe missing that were just fatigued and just couldn't make it, carrying knocks. And I think that we were probably there for the taking that day. And had it been different, had it been a week later on, who knows? And yeah, that's always going to be the case with cups, is the what ifs. But yeah, it just felt like everything was stacked up against us this year, and that trip to Rugby Park.
Yeah. A couple of weeks later, though, Paul, Dundee Derby. What were we worrying about?
We shouldn't have worried about anything, Rondo, because United were good on the day and Dundee were terrible. And that's why it resulted in us winning. Even though it still took until Dolchik fired in that second, late in the second half, to kind of seal it. But yeah, I thought we played really well that day, and it was a comfortable win.
And since were you two like at a random table at the side of the dairy for the derby?
Yeah, that's our common position these days. It's the old bit of terrace beyond the edge of the dairy that is there. That I think there's a safety issue with the number of people up in the gantry, so we get the cables coming down for everything to be.
Don't have to worry about that when they get a new stadium, Scott. You'll be fine.
Aye.
Absolutely.
Plush.
And then we're kind of halfway up the old terracing and the open to the elements, and thankfully it's been dry both times this season there.
What's it like for you, like when United score and you're that close to them, you know? I mean, you hear everything at the same time, don't you?
The big difference for me is the fact it's outdoors. So probably the complete opposite of that is Killie, where you used to be able to open windows at the front of their gantry, but you can't now. They've nailed them in, or they've nailed the edges in, so you can't get the windows out. And you're right next to the Killie TV guys. So everything is kind of echoing around you, and you're very conscious of what you're saying and how that could be taken. At Dens, it's not so bad because you're out. Well, you've got the fences up anyway, so let's face it, they're not going to get to you, and they'll get nicked before they do if they try. But everything's in the open air, so
And I might hear Dave laughing really loud. The logos in. Yeah.
It's a lot easier when it's not fire drill kicks than, there's no any trolls.
If they've got two folk laughing at them from that side, that's drowned out by the 4,000 the other side laughing at them as well.
That was a great end to August. September's quite a short month. Tells we quite a lot. We had 3 games. We're Hibs away, Aberdeen at home, Killie at home. 3-3 at Easter Road felt like one of the games where you came away no knowing if you were happy, annoyed, exhausted, or 3 of them. Beat Aberdeen 2-0 at Tannadice. Kilmarnock came to Tannadice. They won 2-0. That result becomes a lot more important as the season goes on. Paul, Hibs, 3-3. 3 brilliant goals. A keeper punching it as in net and threw away a 3-1 lead. See that fly attacking me there?
Rondo.
I mean, I watched this back. I said to you the other night, I was watching the goals back.
Yeah.
And that 3-3 game, holy moly, we were 3-1 up, we were playing so well.
You know what? That's probably one of my favourite games that I've been to this season. I can remember coming out and there was a lot of fans that were pissed off, but they were pissed off probably because it feels like you threw away 3 points, or 2 points, sorry, because we were 3-1 up. But just as an enjoyable match, it was brilliant. But you're right, we scored some good goals in that game, but we just that wasn't at the start of our defensive problems. I think when you actually go back and watch the highlights from the very get-go of the season, there was defensive issues, but they were highlighted in that game when you've got corners coming in, the keeper sclaffing a punch and it goes behind them, and then playing out from the back, which after that game, I think Goodwin took the blame for. I think he was saying, it's on me because I'm encouraging them to do that. But ultimately, I still think we got shafted with the penalty that got the equaliser for them. I think we were really harshly treated in that moment, and Isco also getting the red card. So, there's another scenario where we actually could have lost that game in the aftermath of conceding the equaliser. But yeah, it was an exciting match. It was a good watch, but it was 2 points thrown away.
Look, I got a double that night, but the goal of the night is Zach Sapsford. What a team move that is. I mean, it was just, that was probably one of the interesting signs. Is this how we are going to play? Are we going to be this counter-attacking team, Dave? Because it was exciting.
I think when United were in good flowing football, they were moving it quick. There were nobody dwelling on the ball. There was no 3, 4, 5 touches. They looked really good. And the start of the season, you're right, Ronnie. We looked as though we could do something and, take ourselves into Europe, maybe even into the cups, and really cement our place in the top 6 again. But all of a sudden, it came crashing down. We couldn't get a run of wins together. We couldn't. I was looking back as well. The winless runs weren't excessive, but they were stopping the bus moving. Right? I mean, we couldn't get multiple wins together. I think we only got multiple wins twice in the season. That's no way to put a stamp on how your team should be performing over the whole season.
Yeah. Going on for that, obviously you're playing Aberdeen at home. How does a Dundee United win against Aberdeen go down in your family, Scott? That must be great.
It's always pleasing. it's always pleasing to get that little bit of bragging rights. And in this one, that was basically, we thought we'd uncovered an absolute gem with Dolchek again, and getting the goal, and then Bert with the second, and echoing what Dave and Paul have both said, that at that point in the season you're thinking, there was a bit of doubt over letting Gallagher go last summer was going to be a good thing. I think at that point in the season we're thinking, here's somebody that has experience, he can read the game, he's still mid-20s, he looks a good player, and then he gets the goal against Aberdeen as well. And yeah, it's always pleasing to come up the road in the back of a win against the Dons.
And Kilmarnock again, Paul, and you reminded us last night, probably wouldn't have watched the highlights back. I put myself through it. Wow.
Yeah, it was maybe the poorest that we played all season up to that point. Certainly it was, but if I'm honest, it wasn't a surprise. Some teams just have an Indian sign over you. So just a bogey team. I was far from happy about it though, and I think the longer the season went on, there was a point where that was their only win away from home for months and months. It was just a real bad day at the office. Yeah.
October's another mixed bag. Livy at home 1-0, which already feels like 2 points dropped. United got Ibrox, so drew 2-2, 3-1 home win against St Mirren, 2-0 away defeat at Motherwell. Familiar frustrations. October's a month. United showed they could probably raise it when they wanted. They go Ibrox, get a point, which is a good result. We beat St Mirren well at home, and then they drop points in games that just start to define a season. And it was Bert's turn this time, Paul, to have a defensive lap against Livy. He just flies over.
Yeah, short pass back, falls on his face, and Stevie May, who always plays brilliantly against United, was on hand to pass it to his mate in the middle. And we give ourselves a wee bit of a hill to climb in that one. I think it was Curtis Test that got the equaliser in that game. Again, it was a bit on the back of losing all 3 points to Killie at home to then drop another 2. Because before the games, we'd have probably been thinking, well, we've got to be looking for 6 points. To only get 1 point out of them, it really wasn't up to snuff.
Yeah, it was a good performance at Ibrox in the 2-2 score, and Craig Sibbald with a screamer.
He's some of his very own goal of the month competition in October, was he? And again, from a day where you can see the opening goal down there, and how often have we been down there and you go, oh God, here we go. It's just going to be one of those days where we're watching a heavy defeat again. And then the turnaround in the second half. I don't know if it was Travinovski's first touch almost after he came on, but he got the equaliser.
Yep.
And then serves that some strike. And when you see it from behind the goal at the other end, it's just a wonderful hit.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, again, can't hang on to it. And it's always difficult down there because they'll throw everything with you and with the crowd and the atmosphere and
referees,
whether you like it or not. That must be in a referee's mind, that as fair and even balanced as you can be. The weight of atmosphere and noise on you from that. It was always going to be unlikely to hang on to it, probably.
Dave, it already feels like the United roller coaster had fired up by that point. Livingston disappointing. Good performance against Rangers, albeit kind of see out. Beat St Mirren, and then I'm pretty sure Paul described the Motherwell game as just, I think meek was maybe the cleanest word he used. But how could we go so up and down so early in the season?
Yeah, it just didn't feel as though there was too many ups though, Ronnie. That was the thing for me. It just seems to be that we constantly were going down this roller, and I'm just waiting for that burst to get back up again and get on a winning run and put something together and just find that common get together. For me, a lot of the games were lost through silly mistakes, through not doing the right thing at the right time, and just allowing the opposition to take the upper hand. And, that's not what you expect. You didn't expect that in the side from the previous season because they never, they were fighters, they were battlers, one of the best football players. They'll say that themselves, but they certainly put a lot of effort in. We flipped that this year, and we've got much, in my mind, much more skillful, tactically aware players. But they didn't seem to gel even mid-season. So, you'd expect at the start of the season, mid-season, you'd expect, hey, we're starting to get these relationships together. I think if it wasn't for Will Ferry in that one side, Lincoln down there, we could be in a worse position. Will sort of dragged that team along for long periods and got us up the park. We were just needing that. And, when he stood in as, vice captain to captain, he showed that on the park.
Yeah, and he was that for a fair while. Scott's mentioned it, Paul, Sybil saying he's in competition by this point. He goes another screamer against St Mirren. Again, it was another goalkeeping absolute howler.
It was, yeah. And if you remember back, United, we won that game, but we weren't very good. And that was another one where Kucherenko, for some reason, has punched the ball up in the air, and then I forget who scored the goal for St Mirren, but it was on a plate for the boy. He couldn't have missed. And then that was to take the lead again. We gave ourselves a wee bit of a mountain to climb. But we did get the job done in that one, so it kind of papered over a few of the cracks, but it wasn't a good performance. It really wasn't. And Sybil's goal, as good as it was, I think it was pretty much in the last minute just to seal the deal on the day. But yeah, as Dave says, there was definitely worrying signs, because at the start of the season there was wee things you could hang your hat on, thinking that's good. Okay, we can maybe work on that, but that's bound to get better the further into the season we go, when these guys know each other and build relationships. But now that we were in October, the end of October, and we were still seeing the same mistakes, and the performances weren't actually improving, in my opinion anyway, there was a wee bit of concern there.
Yeah, and I mean, November.
That St Mirren game.
On you go.
Sorry, Ronnie, I was going to say, a big one in that St Mirren game was just the courage of Amar Fatah to step up.
Yes, with the penalty. Yeah.
After what had happened against Vienna at the same end.
Yep.
We were late in the game, fine, maybe a bit fortunate that Gogic got a red. I think it's one of those that a yellow and nobody complains, and I think at the time a lot of us kind of looked, and when he went down, thought, he's just the both players going for the same ball as it's coming across. But once it's given the courage to step up, that was kind of the start of him maybe hitting an upward curve for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're already on this roller coaster, I've said, but November, it's probably the first proper dip. We've got 3 games, no wins, we only scored 2 goals, 1-1 draw with our Hearts, decent enough in isolation, I suppose. Falkirk then come to Tannadice. They win 3-0. It's one of the worst afternoons of the season. I wish I'd missed my flight. After that, United went to Calais. They drew 1-1. Those are no disasters away from home. I've always said that, but when you're struggling, but when you're really needing to turn draws into wins already, Paul, this is the point. Do you start asking whether it's inconsistency? Is it just part of the early season, or is it part of the team?
It was definitely inconsistency, wasn't it? But you've said it, the Hearts' performance itself was pretty good. We did very well that day. Unfortunately, it wasn't his fault, but that was a Kucherenko own goal as well. When somebody's took a shot, he's dived to try and touch it in the post. He's missed it. It's hit the post. It's hit him in the back and went in. That is as unlucky as you can ever be when you're a goalkeeper. But we played some great football that day. The thing that sticks in my mind from that game was the amount of times we just got caught offside, where we were breaking through. So once again, as much as you're going into that game, probably no with many expectations on the back of the games that we had seen previously, you come away from that one thinking, right, okay, there's something to work with here. They're finally getting it. And then, as you've said, the next week was Falkirk at home, and that probably was the worst that we played. Certainly up to that point. It was a terrible performance. I think that's when I was off the Kucherenko train, because when Scott mentioned at the start of the season, he was looking and thinking, this guy's like the Ukrainian Steve Dijkstra. I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the fact that he was wanting to come for everything, and he seemed really confident, but he had just given away too many goals by that stage, and there were unbelievably poor goals to give away, like the Falkirk one in particular. He's not even getting challenged, and he punches it into his own net. And I think the first goal in that game as well, he parries it out when he probably should have smothered it or tipped around the post or something. It was a bad day at the office for him.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes in when that happens as well. But, I mean, Dave, you're mounting a climb when you're 2-0 down at home with 22 minutes gone and your goalies had 2 mares.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do feel for the goalkeeper. You know, as I said earlier, relationships are really important. You know, your back line and your goalkeeper are a unit. You felt, I'm not sure if it happened or not, but you felt the goalkeeper was like on an island on his own. There's no arm around him. There was no, keep your head up, we'll get you out of this. It just felt as though Kuchereko had no place to go. And, you know, he was a young goalkeeper who was keen. He put a lot into it. You could see he was coming for crosses. The previous goalkeepers we've had are frightened to come off their line, right? He's putting himself in that position. Now, if it worked for him and he made those saves and he made the catches and, you know, we'd all be singing his praises. But unfortunately for him, one bad mistake after another eroded his confidence, eroded his ability to be a good goalkeeper. You know, and you would think that there had to be change. There was no other way around it. We couldn't have kept going with Kucherenko making those same mistakes and not being able to dig himself out the hole.
Yeah, and the change was made at Rugby Park while he was injured. Sorry, wasn't it dropped? But Paul, that's the game when a penalty was given. That was never a penalty.
No, and I criticised him many times this season, Keristes, but that for me was never a penalty. It wasn't his fault. It was a coming together. They both got to the ball at the same time. I think it was him. Was it Marley Watkins?
Of course it was.
It was certainly him that took the penalty. But yeah, that was right in front of the United fans that day. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I think it went to VAR though, did it know? And when it went to VAR, I was thinking, well, that's fine, like because that's never a penalty. But then, yeah, of course they get it, and it was. Yeah, like I don't want to rant about VAR on the end of the season review, but that was never their finest hour. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we missed a penalty as well. Max Waters missed a penalty, and
of course we did.
Craig Sibbald wasn't quite scoring screamers, but it just seemed.
But it was a goal.
It was a goal, but in that Rugby Park curse. I mean, I do say a point on the road's not the worst result, but when you've been maybe when you've been that bad down there, I'll take a point, Paul. I'll take.
Yeah, and it is. It's not just us saying it. It has been proven to be a difficult place for whatever reason for United teams to go over the years. So yeah, I wasn't too unhappy with a draw that day. If anything, I probably felt a bit aggrieved that the penalty decision that went against me.
Yeah, probably wasn't a surprise, Scott, as well that it maybe was timed for the goalkeeper to come out the firing line.
Yeah, I think, as Paul says, I think early on you kind of think, okay, he's new, he's in a new place, new country, give him a wee bit of time, and you could see why he was brought in a way. Some of the shot stopping early on was pretty good. His distribution was maybe better than we've seen from some keepers in the past. And you think, okay, in the summer there was a thing about maybe looking to play a little bit further up the pitch, looking to play a little bit better, and yeah, okay, he's at an age where for a keeper he's still very young, and we've maybe got a wee bit of a diamond in the rough here, but I think after the second one, you're thinking, and then by the time it got to the Falkirk game, I think it was a case of it looked like his teammates had maybe lost the confidence as well, and at that point, you kind of have to take him out of the firing line. Likewise, I didn't see the move coming when it did. I thought, yeah, injured or not, I think he needs a wee bit of time out and regroup, and then obviously again Dave Richards comes in, and if it hadn't been for the rebound of that pen in the Killie game, if he saves that, who knows, maybe that's the confidence boost, and again maybe he flies on from there and things change in January as well.
Yeah, the thing is, Dave, like a goalkeeping position, you make an error 99 times out of 100 it costs a goal.
Yeah, it's very difficult to come back from one mistake's, not acceptable, but you could see past that. But, when it's happening game after game, and as Scott mentioned there, lack of confidence in the defence playing alongside you, it all seems to just unravel so quickly. A goalkeeper's not a position that, it's a weak character, shall we say, would be surviving in that sort of environment. So I know he's not a weak character. He is quite a strong young lad, but young's probably the reason that he had to move on and certainly be replaced in the goal, because we needed a bit of stability. We needed the defence to believe in, the goalkeeper is there to stop the ball going in the net, and he'll do that job. And Dave Richards was tried and tested in the past, so it was not a gamble.
Yeah. December's probably one of the strongest sort of spells of the season. 7 games, only 1 defeat. Drew 2 over Rangers at Tannadice. Well, we should have won the match. Lost 2-0 to St Mirren. Drew 0-0 with Motherwell. Beat Celtic 2-1. A 1-1 draw with Hibs and Aberdeen. Round off the calendar year. 3-1 win away to Livingston. Even in the best month, there seems to be points left behind. Motherwell, Hibs at home. Either side of that first one against Celtic, and God knows how long. But, Paul, is that maybe the story of our season in 1 month?
Possibly, yeah, but I think we only got beat once in that month, so it wasn't too bad, all told. But yeah, when you start that month again, and expectations are lower because of what we've seen the previous month. But when you've got Rangers at home, and I thought we were excellent that night as well. We put in a very good performance. Statsford was excellent. Fatah was brilliant. And it looked to all the world that we were going to get the 3 points on that night, and then it was pretty much the last kick of the match, wasn't it? And once again, it was a contentious decision that's went against us. Does Will Ferry clip the boy? I think he grazes him. Is it enough for the boy to go down like somebody's hit him with an axe? Probably no. But that was the sort of thing that was being given at that time of the season by VAR. So yeah, that was a sore one. And then the rest of the month, as you say, it was kind of like 1 defeat, a couple of draws, a couple of wins. So it wasn't the worst month, that's for sure.
The thing is, as well, during VAR calls, because Paul's asked me this is more to you guys. You guys have to fill in and speak during the VAR thing. Whereas I just need to announce it and I could sit back. But but again, it's not as easy as we didn't always get replays. It's always just what you've seen with the naked eye, Scott, and you've just to go with it type thing.
No, I think, there's some grounds that will give us a fee where we get the replays, and it's such a difference to have that and you can see what the VAR is looking like, and other times we're just looking for cues and body language on stuff. So, where we're stood, we're right next to United's analysts. So most of the time they're freeze framing quickly and going back and having a look at, and you'll have a sense of, okay, what was the challenge, what's been checked, and you maybe try to gauge body language or get a little nod or a shake of the head. Other times, just from what's going on, you kind of feel, okay, I think what's going to happen here is
penalty Rangers.
That's being ruled out. And it's just a case of, the refs have a difficult enough job. We'll all slate them when they get something wrong, but they get one look at it on the pitch. They've got to call it as they see it. And then that puts a bit of emphasis to the VAR of, this term of clear and obvious and everything else. Well, how clear and obvious is clear and obvious to say, well, if you've said that you didn't get a great view of that and I see this, is that enough for me to say, go and have a look at it? Because everyone knows when they're asked to go and look at it, the inference is, you need to change your mind here. And I think that's one thing for me is, I wouldn't have an issue with a ref going and looking at it and coming back going, nah, I don't see anything. That's what I thought I saw. Yeah. And I'd think there's maybe be a little bit more give and take, that instead of somebody sitting elsewhere watching it on a screen, the refs had a chance to see it again from different angles. I said, well, I still go with my first decision, because I didn't think it was enough contact. I didn't think it, his hand wasn't in a natural position, whatever the decision is. But at times it just feels like, I'm sure we'll come on to it, the Hearts game, where it just felt like everything was going against me.
Yeah, and it's, again, the decisions as well, like I think a lot of time, because I've said this to Paul before, like we have our own post-match debrief waiting on crowds going so we could get out, but just a lot of the time it is just a case that I've seen it once and then I go, no, I'm so sold on it, and then I see it back and go, nah, maybe no. But 90th minute, Rangers, VAR check. That's what.
See if you think back though, Rondo, Will Ferry's reaction at the time, I left that game thinking that must have been a penalty because he didn't kick up a stink. He didn't. It was almost like an acceptance. I've caught him. And you're like, oh, it's not until I went back and watched it on TV, you're like, Christ almighty, like he's barely caught him. He has grazed him in the sock and the boy's threw himself. Not every contact should be a foul, in my opinion. But
We've said that.
it was that night.
That was a time of the season that I wasn't making it a few games. My other half was in hospital, so it was kind of, I think that game was on TV, so I think that was a safe one to watch. I didn't have to get Ronnie's VPN Airways ticket on that one. But yeah, there were a couple of really awful watches in that time in December. The St Mirren game, the Motherwell game, where there wasn't much, but that Rangers game, as you say, at the time, Mo Ferry's body language, you just think, he's dangled a leg there, he's got him.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing it going, really?
Yep.
But at the point it's being reviewed, you think, right, we know what's coming here, because at a VAR position, you go, well, if there's contact, if the ref's decided that's a pen, if there's contact, you can't say that's clear and obviously different, even though we all know for the level of contact, there's no way you're going down like that.
No chance.
Nonsense.
No chance.
Well, where does the Celtic home win sit in your season highlights, given it was the first in a wee while?
It was as wonderful as it was surprising, because obviously we had played well against the Rangers. St Mirren away, stinking. Like Dave Richards sold the jerseys on the second goal of that one. The Motherwell home game, it was just a rubbish game in general. So again, when Celtic had Nancy in charge at that time, so in the back of my mind, you're probably thinking, like, we do have a bit of a chance here because everybody else has been beating them. But I think, did they not come to us on the back of losing 3 or 4 in a row, whatever it was? And I just remember thinking, there is absolutely no way they're going to go 4 or 5 in a row defeats here. Mm-hmm. So there was a wee bit of hope, but there was no expectation for me. Yeah. So on the night, and if you will all remember watching it, like in that first half, they blew us away. They absolutely blew it. They could have been about 4-0 up at half time, and we could not have complained. I think that was one of the first, if not the first time, where I looked at Bert and I thought, oof, like maybe he's not cut out for. I'm not saying anybody would have been cut out to Mark Maeda because he's so quick and when he's on form, he's so good. But he really got exposed that first half. Yeah. So if you fast forward to the end of that game and we won by scoring our goal of the season in it as well, it was unbelievable. It was a great night.
Scott and Dave both missed that game, so I'm assuming we can blame the lack of results against Celtic on you two.
Correct.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, I was there for the second one of this season, so I'll... it makes it all the more sore to miss when there's a result like that and you're not there, because it's not quite the same watching on from afar. Yeah, it was Mark and Sean Dillon was on co-coms that night, and I'll not do the accent because, well,
because you can't.
But I might say to him at the end of the game, because it's Maeda that rips Bert an absolute new, and I said, would you fancy even in your playing Maeda? And he's like, absolutely fucking not. Like, that's good enough for me. Like, tell you everything you needed to know. Going on what I was watching, one where I was surprised there wasn't an early shift, because I think because it was so obvious. Minutes, it's wave after wave. Find himself isolated against them.
Who was the Celtic striker that night?
Johnny Kenny.
Kenny was missing.
Johnny Kenny. He should have scored about 3. Yeah, we got lucky first half. We rode our luck. Yeah, but over the piece, I thought you could argue that we deserved it.
Sometimes you need a bit of luck, but
correct.
When I was watching back on highlights, like I didn't hang about for Aberdeen or the Hibs because they were 1-1 draws. But Dave, you actually rounded off December with Ross Graham as your co-commentator down at Livingston, and he was commentating like a fan.
He certainly was. Yeah. He's a big lad to try and calm down, I'll tell you that. Yeah, he was encouraging the players on the park in no uncertain manner. It was good to, as you said earlier, getting players out to speak and to tell you things. It was really good. But a couple of times I was trying to commentate and he said, get across a bit, Markham, get tighter. I felt like taking the headset and stuff off that, you know, Vic Ross is there. He's good, he took it in good manner, but yeah, it was funny, it was eventful, yeah.
Well, we were in control that night for a while, but it took like 86 minutes till we got the second goal, Paul.
Yeah, it was that was a slow burner, that one.
Well, it wasn't a half, yeah. No, but that was Fatah. He scored a peach that game, didn't he?
He scored the third, yeah.
Yeah, that was an absolute cracker of a goal. We've got a photo bomber here. That was a great goal. And you know what? That was actually a really good performance from the team, if you remember back. Now, obviously, Dunfermline and Livingston finished bottom of the league by a considerable distance, but you could only focus on United, and on that night we absolutely blew them away. I thought, like, they got lucky that it was only 3-1, so we were very good that day.
Yeah, just took a while to get going, but then you seen, you know, Big Sam was playing, Dario Namo came in, and Sterling started, but it was a decent way to end the month off, getting a win. January is grim. I mean, I can't even dress it up. You know, you lose 1-0 at home to Dundee, 4-0 away to Celtic. Did beat Ayr, done the job. Hearts came to Tannadice, we'll definitely get to that. At the Swamp. In the league, 3 defeats for 3, no goals scored, 8 conceded. December gave a bit of probably optimism, but, you know, January just knocked it back down again. Home derby defeats will hurt, Celtic away is heavy. It's probably the month where any review of a season starts turning for how high can we finish to exactly where are we. Before we get into the results, though, Paul, we mentioned we brought 14 in the summer. We brought another 3 in January. Mane come from absolutely no place. Another number 1 came in, Ashley Maynard Brewer and Neil Farrugia. It was a squad that probably just needed a boost and some fresh legs.
Needed something, yeah. And I can't speak for anybody else. I didn't know anything about Mane. Never heard of him. I didn't know anything about Farrugia other than, like, he'd been to Shamrock Rovers, and then it kind of came out pretty quick that we had actually tried to get him the summer before or something. Maynard Brewer, I could remember him from Ross County, but I couldn't remember if he was good, bad or indifferent, to be honest with you. But I think at that point we were choking for a goalkeeper. We absolutely needed a goalkeeper because I can't remember when Kucherenko went. But we were basically down to Dave and Rory Adams at a certain point. So, yeah, we definitely needed the reinforcements, but they didn't have the immediate desired effect.
Yeah. Dave, to go for that high of a derby win at Dens, which is always a nice place to win a derby, but how damaging was that home derby defeat that day?
Yeah, it was a bit of a sore one. Yeah, I don't think we played as well as we could have that day. Dundee were pretty much direct as they've become. Ash Hay was ragdolling the centre halves at times. Got good passers of the ball in midfield, and it just clicked for Dundee that day. They didn't really seem to get the traps that often. Didn't really get good chances for the forwards to score. So, you know, it just played out as we expected. It was a damp squib at the end for us.
Yeah, it was a frustrating. And talking of frustrating, Paul, I remember the following week how frustrated you were after going to Celtic Park and just getting pumped.
Yeah. I probably said, "What's the point? What's the point?" I will keep this thought until I go to my grave. Like, I don't understand why you go there to just set up shit, not to concede anything, and ultimately you get pumped. Like, you have wasted everybody's time and your own. There's just I don't know if it's a lack of belief in what we could actually do against them, because Celtic, I think, was that no Martin O'Neill's first game, or he was back at that point, was he?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, he was certainly in the dugout.
Yeah, but it was just as meek a performance, and yeah, we deservedly got trounced for nothing. It was a waste of my time, money and effort.
Scott, could you imagine that month if we didn't beat Ayr?
If we hadn't have beaten there, we wouldn't have seen Nikolai Muller score, would we?
Oh, wow.
Very true. That was an expensive goal.
For somebody.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think even that air game, I think because of what we were seeing before it, there was a little bit of anxiety creeping around as the game was drifting on. That this is a banana skin coming, and we can see that the team are maybe not at their most confident at the moment, and morale's not up, and yeah, there's momentum might go the other way. So I think you hope that would be a win that would kick us on and actually change things. But yeah, it wasn't to be by the time we had the Hearts game next.
Right, Paul. Scott set what? Take it away. The Hearts game.
It was controversial, Rondo. That's what we'll say. Like, it was obviously played in poor conditions. The pitch was an absolute mess, a shambles of a surface. And it was Fatah sending off. Was it still 0-0 when he got sent off? Or was it 1-0 by that point? I do forget. But
1-0
then. 1-0 then at that point. So
that was 1-0, yeah. 1-0.
The sending off for me, no, it was never a sending off. A terrible decision, and I've seen people have the opposing view on it because, well, his studs were raised and whatever. That to me is never and should never have been a red card. It was a terrible decision, and if we were already 1-0 down, we weren't exactly in scintillating form going into that game anyway. We were really up against it. Really up against it at that point.
Yeah, and the thing with that as well, Dave, that's probably when we'd be desperate to have everything from VAR to see what was going on in that incident. Because, I mean, the first time I saw it, I didn't think it was a red card, let alone when I seen a replay.
The play kept going on. Sorry to cut you off, Dave. The play kept going on. It wasn't until, it must have been 20, 30 seconds later, I got pulled back and they checked it because that boy with the shite hair, Mark Leonard, was rolling about green. That's how they checked it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the referee never gave it. He played it on. He got injured down the bottom, but he quickly got to get up and demonstrate. And then the red card was issued. Mark Leonard gets involved in another case in later on. The big pan. Or big pan got involved with him. And, you know, it just seemed to go from bad to worse. Yeah, it was a soft penalty, and then a dark sending off, and that sort of screwed the whole game. There was no way back.
I mean, we spoke about the penalty, Paul. Like, I'm not sure you get tackled like that. That's how you go, but everyone's going against one.
But you know what? Again, like, there was contact. So if they were only looking for contact, then yeah. But then we could argue, but was it him that initiated the contact? I think it was Strain that it was against. Yeah, it was a bad day. Like, when we spoke about Pan sending off, I didn't really defend Pan because although Leonard has absolutely milked the whole situation by throwing himself to the floor, and there was no reason to do that other than to get the man sent off. Like, Pan was daft in that moment. He shouldn't have put his head into him, albeit he's only grazed him on the cheek. But you can't do that. I think we all know that you can't do that these days.
I thought Mark Leonard
Gabriel on the back of your shirt for that one, Dick.
I just thought Mark Leonard, to be able to pick himself up for such a heavy blow, was commendable, really.
Lazarus-like.
Yeah, like Rocky had been at him, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was that.
Yeah, he was cute for both of them, really, was he?
Yes.
It was just that thing. Obviously, they brought him in in January, and he's played at a decent level down south, and they needed something to kick them on.
Yeah,
that was obviously part of what he's got, is that kind of nous and experience. The first red, I think that was a live TV game, wasn't it? So I think we did have replays.
Yeah.
And I think after the ref had kind of said, right, don't restart at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it was the first replay, and I think I said, might be trouble here for Fatah, because the way he's gone down, the fact if the VAR's having a look at this, he's going to see studs. And then you see it again and go, yeah, but the base of his boot is pretty much on the ground. So he can't get any lower than that if his foot's in that direction. And fine, okay. If they're all given like that, you can maybe get used to it. It's the lack of consistency. And then the pen, I'm pretty sure the ref thinks that's a good few yards outside the area, and he thinks it's Yeah, it's basically a nothing challenge that you see now and again. You see halfway line, middle of somebody's half, not a lot of contact, but okay, stop them moving on. So you give it. And then, as you say, Paul, because there's contact with VAR, it's going, well, actually, when we see this now, it's on the line. So that's a pen. I'm pretty sure if the ref had thought that was on the line, he'd have let that one go.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot's been said about it, but I mind walking in that night and looking at the pitch, you know, because I think it had been raining as well. Saturday night game, it was like, oh my word, this is not good. And the football on display, Dave, wasn't great, but I got beat 3-0. It didn't really matter, did it?
No, I was there helping get the sheets off the park as well. That made it even harder, so harder the stomach. I didn't think the game would be on. The amount of water had fallen in the previous week. Water had got under some of the sheets. But they got it dried up and had a few hours from us lifting the sheets at 11 o'clock to the kick-off at 5. It's much easier, but it must have been a tough. The ball was not travelling in a natural path on all parts of the park. On some of it, yeah, but on parts of it was not.
Yeah. I think it was not on TV. I don't think it goes ahead, eh?
Yeah, but that absolutely killed the pitch.
Yeah.
Absolutely killed the pitch for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was... January.
That and Dave's efforts at getting the bloody sheets off, obviously.
You want to see the size of the sheets, Paul.
January was pretty horrendous. Didn't score a league goal. February's pretty messy as well, and I don't actually just mean the pitch. Postponements, rearranged games, league games, cup games. It's a bit stop-start. We absolutely shite the bed 3-2 away at Hibs. We got Falkirk, we won 3-2. Which felt quite important given the disaster back in November when they come to us. Beat Spartans in the Cup, 1-0 at home to Kilmarnock, 0-0 home to Aberdeen, 2-0 defeat away to Motherwell. So, season's still alive, doesn't really push what on, but a couple of results are useful, a couple are frustrating, but 2-1 up Easter Road, Paul, 9 minutes left. Take us through the rest of it.
It was less than 9 minutes left. Was it not like 89th and 90th minute goals or something? It was just, it was all too common at that point then, wasn't it? We were used to seeing leads thrown away, and on that night, we actually threw all 3 points away. That was an absolute sickener because there wasn't much in the game. Like, I'm not saying that we were particularly great that night, but Hibs weren't great either. We managed to get ourselves into a lead through a very rare Max Waters goal, and then we just couldn't defend set pieces, our crux for the season pretty much, and that was really painful. Like, and there was a lot of guys being fans. There was a lot of fans really pissed off at the end of that one. There really was.
Yeah, and Dave, you were commentating that night. How tough is that for your point of view to call that? The fan in you maybe coming out as well.
Yeah, well, it was 89 and 93 were the two late goals, and when you get to 89 you're thinking about how you're going to wind the game up in terms of summarising it, and that all had to be thrown in the bin very quickly. They brought in the big centre forward. I think he'd hardly played. His first touch was a header, flicked into the net, and the rest is history. But yeah, these are the kind of games that you really feel gutted. You feel life's not fair in general, but the footballing gods are certainly not looking our way. Hibs struggled at times against us. The pace of Martin Boyle was not effective against us that day. We took control. We were leading 2-1, minutes to go. The game should have been done and dusted, but that fragility is still there. That little chink of light that opposition teams see, they managed to make it, open the curtains and see right out, and that's not good from your United point of view.
No, manager didn't mince his words. Paul called it pathetic.
Well, it was, and like Dave touched on when he mentioned his commentating, like he calls it the way that he sees it, like, and Goodwin, he had to call it pathetic because that's exactly what it was. Right. And it was like at that point of the season, certainly on the podcast, Rondo, me and you, or certainly me, I'll not throw you under the bus, but I was criticising the three at the back for what felt like months. But even they 2 goals that we lost late in that game, I didn't even think it was because of playing three at the back, because there was 2 set pieces. Like, that shouldn't matter how many you're playing at the back. Just pick up your man, defend your box, and deal with it. You've only got a couple of minutes to see the game out and get a valuable win on the road. And we absolutely shat the bed.
Yeah. Scott, did you think here we go again when Falkirk scored early doors the following week?
Yeah, pretty much. I think everything was, frustration was definitely building. So the couple of performances and scores in the previous games, and I think the weather interrupting everything for everyone. I think fans were feeling that frustration of just not getting anything. And I think when Falkirk go and score the first goal, there was a sense of, here we go again. And in fairness, we maybe got a wee bit of luck in the second half when Henderson got sent off. But the character to come back. And I think at the time there was still more than enough games to think, right, okay, if we've beaten Falkirk now, we could still topple them, we could still get ourselves in the top 6. So it felt like a big win at the time. And again, just looking for something to kickstart the season and think, right, okay, that's the pendulum swinging now, momentum's going the right way. And as I say, it just didn't really happen at all this season in that way. It's just been a continual, for every up, there's been a down coming soon after.
And Paul, it was Julius Eskison and his baggy top that got the winner.
It was. He's 5XL top. Yeah, like as Scott said, at the start of that game, in fact, before the game, I'll go back, like, I was absolutely boiling because me and Shaw, we put in for all these ballot games, like the Hearts away, Falkirk away, and we put in for that one. And I was genuinely no arsed. I thought, if I didn't get tickets, I'm not that fussed because we're not playing great. So I not get the, you've been successful. Oh, Christ, okay, I better go then. So when we go 1-0 down on the day, you're like, here we go again. But in fairness to the team, like they dug it out, you know. Eskison, we've not really mentioned him, but in the wee glimpses that we've seen of him, I think he's offered something different to the team, which is at times what we've probably been crying out for. Sibbald getting the equaliser, obviously Graham gets the first goal. It's a gift from my favourite goalie, Scott Bain, and Eskison with the winner. So yeah, it was a good one on the day. It was a vital 3 points as well. So a lot of boys were heading up the road happy that night.
And an ideal start against Spartan, Scott. Yeovil set up.
Yeah, that was a moment you thought, here we go. That's you felt confident against a team at that level. You thought, right, home game, we should be able to take care of this. And then, what was it, 7 minutes in, 9 minutes in, something like that, you go down to 10 and, all right, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
No VAR.
In fairness did okay, settled through it.
Yeah.
And again, Jim Goodwin, I think at that point in time, instead of bringing on another defender, just thought, right, we just adapt and we basically say, right, we're going to play the 2 wing backs maybe a wee bit deeper, but it felt like a 2-4, defence in midfield, kept the 2 centre halves and just said, right, we need to make sure that if they're playing one up, we've got enough cover there, we've got somebody else to cover. But we don't need to go a body light in the midfield here. We can just go and express ourselves and make sure that we go and win the game.
Like you said it, Paul, about obviously there's no VAR there, right? But I knew we were onto something as soon as he booked for after 5 minutes for nothing.
Yeah.
And then, and I said at the time, I still didn't believe it's a red card. But as soon as he booked him in the 5th minute, you went, nah, this is no great. And then that happened. Yeah.
No, it was poor refereeing, there's no doubt about it. Like the takeaway from that game is that we ground it out. We played quite well considering, and Dolchik had one of the passes of the season for the second goal. It's a great pass. Once again showing a glimpse of what he could potentially do.
And then the boys scored a cross with 12 minutes to go.
Well, we were getting pinned back at that time. Late in the game, 2-0 up. We were defending that box because he just threw everything at us. And the guy that scored, he was the top goal scorer, but he was on the bench. he came on, he made a big difference to that.
Yeah.
You know, it was not nail biting, but certainly we were looking at the clock more often than not as we closed on 90 minutes.
Yeah. Following week, 1-0 with Kilmarnock, Paul, but Amar Fatah got a screamer before your favourite player got the freedom of the box to head home.
Yeah, it was a pretty forgettable game as well, wasn't it? There was nothing really in it, and it was just a moment of brilliance from Amar that gave us the lead. And it should have been, that again, like how often have we said it, that should have been enough. That should have been comfortably seen out by the end of the game. But the last 5 minutes of that match, we just kept getting deeper and deeper, and Kelly had a few chances. And ultimately, I can't remember if it was in the last minute or if it was injury time that they got their equaliser. But yet another sickener for the team.
Yeah, and then Scott 0-0 with Aberdeen. Wasn't up to much, was it? Home game for you though.
Yeah. It was. There wasn't a lot happening in that match, was there?
Nesbitt should score though.
Yes, absolutely. How he'd missed that one, I've no idea. But I went back and looked at my notes, my commentary notes on that one, and I think I had 4 moments in the game for United, 3 for Aberdeen. Over the kind of noted down as that probably told the tale of what it was. And I think probably at that point in the season, both sides were happy enough with a point from that.
Yeah,
you know, given what they've been going through, I think Aberdeen at that point were thinking anything on the board is scraping them a wee bit further away from danger. And I think because of that sickener at Killie, I think we were just happy with a clean sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, I think the final game of February is where you coined the phrase "win a last," and going by what happened today, it probably win a Maswanise double doing it Fir Park. I think that's when you were shouting at Callum Slattery, but it was it was gone that day. Oh,
it was poor, and again, like that. Another issue with VAR, like that was when Motherwell's first first goal that day was the penalty. But when you're at the game, like you didn't have a clue what they're checking. You had no idea. And then again, when you come back and you see it on the TV, it's maybe the worst camera I've ever seen at a football game in Scotland, and it's looking round a pole, and you didn't really see what's going on, and yet they still managed to come to the conclusion that they deserved or merited a penalty in that incident. And then right at the start of the second half, I missed it. I was still in the toilet. The goal music comes on, and it wasn't until after that game I've seen the Maswanise, and it takes a deflection off somebody and wrong foot the keeper, and that was it. Like, it was again just another poor performance on the road, and particularly doing it for Park, where we just never laid a glove on the guys all season.
There's 2 teams who are like that all season, but they'll come up again. March of the month that sums up the season, probably as well as it could be. 7 points for 9 we took in the league. Got a derby point away from home. We should have won. Second home win of the season against Celtic this time. Martin Celtic. Stuck in the middle to the quarter-final defeat at Falkirk. Kind of changes the feel as well. Without it, March looks pretty good. Before, though, we get into that, Paul, Johnny Russell returned.
He did, yeah. And I'm convinced it wasn't a Jim Goodwin signing. I may be wrong, but that's just my thoughts on it. That was a bit of a boost. It was a right lift for the fans when he came back. And I don't think anybody expected him to be the Johnny Russell that had left Tannadice, or even the Johnny Russell from a couple of years ago, but it was just great to have him in the building. He's a hero to a lot of fans. He's also, like my own young lad, he'd never seen him play, so he'd only heard about Johnny Russell and watched him on YouTube clips. So it was a bit of a boost that he was back in the building, and you were kind of hoping that his influence would rub off on the other players, and certainly the younger players of the squad, and everybody would get a lift from it, but it didn't really materialise that way.
Yeah, I mean, that his first game was the Mirren game. I was on holiday, but one of your favourite players, Marcus Fraser, put in his own net and then spent about 30 seconds before trying to blame somebody shoving him.
I still don't know what he was trying to do. I've got absolutely no idea. Unless he meant to do exactly what he did, because it was a perfect finish. But that was one of the worst own goals I've ever seen. But again, it wasn't the greatest game on the night, but you were happy with the win.
Yeah,
that's one of the most difficult moments I think I've had in commentating for DUTV, because most of the time, regardless of what happens, good or bad, you kind of take a moment to think about it and compose yourself. That one I had to take, I think it felt like about 5 seconds before I said anything, because I just wanted to burst out laughing. That it was just that surreal moment of, what's he doing?
Would have went viral.
Diving head around the top corner. What's he doing?
He takes ages to start, because he then waits till he gets up and he's like, the referee. It's like, this is done, isn't it, mate? And then, they score a pretty good goal just after half time, and then that's when we get the penalty. Again, I had to watch it back on highlights because of the time difference, but like Johnny Russell's waiting to come on, and you're
that's right. I would have brought him on and had him take it. I would have brought him on and had him take it personally, but I'm not the gaffer.
Nah, Amar put it away though, and it was 3 points to start March off pretty nicely, Paul.
Yeah, and it was needed. But I think by that stage, but I forget when I first thought to myself, we're not getting top 6. But I think it was probably done by that stage anyway. But it was still, it kind of kept your faint hopes alive a wee bit.
And then it was the Scottish Cup down at the Falkirk Stadium, and after 21 minutes, I thought we were out anyway. I'm pretty sure I turned the TV off at that point. But
with your foot.
two foot. But it was, we weren't at the races. Certainly that opening half an hour, Paul.
No, again, like we gift a team that play relatively good football on their own park. We gift them 2 goals with a lead. If we're honest, we're probably lucky it was only 2-1 at half time. But as much as we started the second half well, we just kind of flattered. We never really. I didn't believe that we were going to get back into it until the very end of the game, and I think Ross Graham got penalised for a foul when the ball broke through to Johnny Russell, and I'm thinking just smash it, and the ref pulls it back for a non-existent foul in my opinion. But that was a blow, because like United, we obviously took a large crowd through that night. It was the quarter-final of a Scottish Cup. Obviously we didn't know at the time, but then the winner would then go on to get Dunfermline. So the prospect of a trip to Hampden was something that was appetising to a lot of fans, but we came up short yet again, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that was the goal. It was like fullback to fullback, wasn't it, Scott? It was like right across the pitch, and the boy sticks it in. You're thinking, here we go again.
I mean, that was pretty much the worst possible first 20 minutes, and I think because there'd been such a good support going through, and the nature of conceding those goals, and I don't think there's any surprise that they were getting on the team's backs at that point. And I think it felt so key that we got a goal just before half time. Again, Eskilsson again. And you think, okay, he's made the changes after 20 minutes in. He's seen that, right, we need to do something different here. It's a one-off cup tie. We've got that goal now. Has that put a bit of doubt in their minds? Are we going to come out second half attacking towards our own fans and turn this around? I think Sapsford hit the post about the hour mark, and it kind of ran over the line or something like that. And he thought, right, it's coming. We just need to keep turning the screw, and it just didn't happen.
You can't have teams we call Donaldson and putting you at the cup, Dave, can you? You just can't.
Just want to go away, buddy. Just want to go away.
Honestly, you'll be on a flush. How for the commentary box, commentary position beside the Derry was the 2-2 for you, Scott, Dave? Like, I mean, watching it as fans was horrendous.
It was fine until 90 minutes and beyond.
Yeah, I mean,
and even then, when the first goes in, you think, it would be nice to get a clean sheet. They got a consolation. So what? And then, I don't know what went through Ross Graham's head, giving away the foul that he did. It felt like a needless one, and he just thought, I'm just giving them a free set piece to load everything into the box here and hope for the best.
And they got the best.
Yeah.
How did you guys sum it up after it? Because I haven't listened back, so please don't take offence. But how did you sum it up in the moment? Because I was stunned, speechless.
I think it was just a case of how we found a way to gift a point out of this. Sewing up, we're 2-0 up, absolutely cruising. Fine, they threw subs on and they got one back, but surely at that point you can manage to managed the game out, and it just, fine. A bit of poor luck our way. Ross Graham, probably because he's given the free kick away, is just stretching beyond where he can reach and not getting a clean contact on the header. And then as much as we can laugh about the Marcus Fraser one, then it's total other feeling when you see that he's probably taken that on his own shoulders and he's thought, I shouldn't have given that free kick away. Right, it's coming my way. I'm just going to do everything to get something on this and clear it. Another couple of inches lower, or if you could jump a couple of inches higher, it's going over the bar out for a corner, and we maybe see it through. But it was an absolute killer, was it?
No.
Yes.
Speak to us in those moments, Dave. Like, you stand there with a microphone and the words just...
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I wasn't there that day. I was in Ninewell shouting for stronger medicine for the nurse.
So that wouldn't have helped then.
No, I was watching it on DUTV on my iPad. My brother was there as well, but he was getting alerts on the phone, so he just me 95 minutes, 2-0 up, looking great. And all of a sudden, beep beep. He says, "Oh, you're not going to believe this." I said, "Oh, don't tell me." 2-1. I said, "Oh, no." So we're into 90 whatever minutes. Beep beep. I went, "Tell me that's United scored." He went, "Nope." I thought, didn't read the line before I saw the goal. So I never saw Ross Graham's header. So it doesn't exist in my mind. So it was actually a 2-1 win for us.
We'll take it.
It's unbelievable. In fact, then Scott will follow up, beating Celtic 2-0 at Tannadice. Manny announcing himself to the crowd with, a raker.
Absolutely. I think it was at his debut that he it was like the Aberdeen game, maybe he'd had a shot from distance and he got some amount of power in it. You thought, if he catches one of them on target, nobody's keeping that out. But yeah, I don't think we saw that coming either with Martin O'Neill's Celtic after what had happened down there when we got turned over. And okay, maybe we rode our luck a wee bit again in the early stages. I think they had a couple of chances early on, but it's complete a performance of, if there was a textbook of, right, soak up the pressure, go and hit them on the break, then as they're trying to throw everything at it, get another one. It was probably a textbook lesson in that, was it?
Bedlam and Eddie Thompson, Paul, when the first and second went in.
Yeah, it was. Like we did have to ride our luck a wee bit in that game. Nothing like the first game in December, where we were really riding all the luck. But I thought we fully deserved that one. Will Ferry was brilliant. Manny was brilliant. Took our goals well. But at the end of that, I wasn't walking away from that thinking we got lucky there. I thought we fully deserved the 3 points.
Yeah,
there was definitely an urgency about United that day. They were on the front foot. They took the game to Celtic as best they could. And as you mentioned it earlier, when you go to Parkhead, you give them the ball, they'll destroy you eventually at some point. Whereas it was opposite for United that day. I thought they played on the front foot and at the end of the day, got what they justly deserved.
Yeah. But we got in April, we lost 4-2 at Ibrox. It's one of the games where we had a go and scoreline's probably a bit flattering. Livingston came to Tannadice, won 3-2. Dundee were at home, big crowd, 3 goals, clean sheet, Derby bragging rights, perfect. Especially after losing the one in January. They probably gave the season its last big high as well. Scott, going to Ibrox, we spoke about it earlier on, right? We've been alright against Rangers, penalty to Rangers, of course. But 4-2 on paper, result looks definitely worse on paper than what United showed that day.
Yeah, again, it was a pretty poor opening again. And like the Falkirk Cup game, got a goal not long before half-time, you thought, right, okay, that's decent. I don't think we saw that happening. I think that's given everyone a boost. And that'll put a bit of doubt in their minds as well. So, right, the longer we keep this 2-1, their crowd will get on top of them, because at that point in time, it wasn't taking a lot for the murmurs to come from the stands at Ibrox. You thought, right, okay, they're going to start getting the heat on them. But then it was 5 minutes or so we conceded again. And it was like, okay, and I think again, there were chances up the other end when it was 3-2, was it, or was it 4-2 by then? But it just fell away. But they gave it a good go second half, and it just felt, if we hadn't conceded so early, I think the atmosphere would have been a bit toxic for Rangers at that point, and we could have capitalised.
It was another goalkeeping howler in that game as well, you'll remember. I think it was Rangers' first goal with Maynard Brewer. I'm not sure of what he's trying to do, push it over the bar or something. Yeah, and that was also a theme this season. Goalkeeping mistakes costing the goals, and it felt like almost every mistake cost a goal when the goalie made it.
Yeah, I've heard it every way. But the game after that, Paul, Will Ferry sent Cammy Kerr back to Dens before opening scoring against Livy, but it was a last-minute penalty it took to claim the points.
Yeah, it was again. It was a needed win. Like all season, apart from the game at Hogmanay when we played Livingston, they were all tight games. Like there wasn't really much in them at all. I'm not really sure what that says about us or them, but it was obviously good to actually be on the right end of a last minute penalty winner for a change. Again, there's no many parts of that game that stick in my memory as being an absolute classic, but when you score 3 goals, you can't be too unhappy.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were 1-0 up, Dave, and then the boy Lewis Smith scores a double, right after half time, and you were, I can't remember anybody else, but I was beginning to shite myself that this is a team that hadn't won a game since about August, and
that's right.
Lo and behold, it might flat Tannadice.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Marvin Bartlett said to them at half time, or what he put in the drinks at half time, but certainly a different team that came out, because United were pretty comfortable in that first half with 1-0 victory, but it soon turned around quickly with those 2 goals, and Boy Smith, was quite handy on that one, cutting inside. 2 good goals, and like you say, took us to the wire. But it ended up 2 victories against Livingston and 2 draws. Wasn't a bad return. Could have been better, could have been easier. But I was dreading us being the team where Livingston, got that 3 points. Because they've been close against Rangers, close against, I think, Aberdeen, run Celtic close. We were up next. I thought, geez, what's going to happen?
Seen it coming.
Yeah. And that
All he's got to summarise.
That was the game as well, though. Amar Fatah went down injured after like 15 minutes. Luca had been ruled out for the rest of the season as well, which were 2 of our biggest players, Scott.
Yeah, and I think looking back on it, I think the only game that we scored in after that was the derby.
Yeah.
And I think it just seemed that as Sapsford went off the boil goal scoring wise, Amar Fatah stepped up, and whether it was the creative spark, set pieces, putting them in himself, or it just felt like there was a danger there. We didn't really get that afterwards. Yeah. And losing them back to back games. Well, Maynard Brewer went off injured in the Rangers game as well, and we made that mistake. But losing Maynard Brewer, losing Stevenson, losing Amar Fatah at that point in the season, it just, looking back on it, it felt bigger than it maybe seemed at the time.
Yeah, and the thing is, Paul, of course the split would throw up your favourite game first. There was nothing to worry about.
There was nothing to worry about. No, the sun was shining. The wee team came down the roads, and we put them to the sword. Yeah, we were quite good that day. Will Ferry was absolutely outstanding. He definitely meant that first goal. I don't care what anybody says. He positioned himself perfectly on the turf, steer it in with his knee. And second half, I think there wasn't much in it in the first half. I didn't think. I thought we probably edged it, but when we got the second goal, I think it was pretty comfortable from there on in. And Ryan Strange's celebration will live long in the memory.
It was incredible, but it was like at that point though, Scott, everything Will Ferry done just worked. Everything was going for him in front of goal, assists, beating men left, right and centre. He was probably playing some of his best football for United in 2 years.
I think it wasn't long before that Celtic game. I think we were having one of our post-match debriefs along by your spot in the gantry, and can't remember which game it was, but he'd missed a chance or he'd hit the post or something had happened, and you caught me going, Wolfen's just not going to score for United, is he?
Well,
and there we were just a few weeks later on, and he was an absolute goal machine.
Visionary, that's what it was. Visionary. And it doesn't matter how they're going either.
It does not.
Doesn't matter. But like you're saying, it was that win. But I mean, Paul, you'd already said a seventh's fine and whatever. But I was still nervy a wee bit because we get into May. We've had the high, back-to-back away defeats, a snooze fest against Livy. Seventh was confirmed, which meant going to Paisley. It was 1-1. It was a 15th draw of the season. But, we just doesn't seem to be a post-split team, Paul. What's going on?
No, and I said to you last week, Rondo, I think what didn't help is the fact that the biggest game that everybody would be up for, regardless of when you play it, was the first game. And then once that was out of the way, and I know that United, and as a United fan myself, and Scott be choking to beat Aberdeen himself, but I know that one you still want to win it, but there wasn't really much on the line, it felt. I think if we had drew that game with Aberdeen, we probably would have confirmed 7th place. But yeah, the players didn't seem like they were overly up for that one, or any of the games after the Dundee derby, if I'm being honest. So the season just kind of petered out in the month of May, sadly.
Yeah, it's disappointing, Dave, wasn't it? We've struggled to score over a lot of goals, but post-split to only really score in the derby, and then, let's say, come on and Livy before we get to Paisley, it was pretty poor.
I think when you get on a bad run, it's difficult to dig yourself out. Even if you're scraping a win, that still gives you that confidence. When you're not playing well and not scoring goals, and you're getting a bit of flack for the media, for pundits, even although you say it doesn't affect you, it does, and it's a big wheel to turn back on itself. So you do need something. Sometimes a bit of luck. Sometimes somebody in a bit of form just drags that team along. And like you said earlier there, Will Ferry taking a perfect pass for Luke Graham to put that first one in that Dundee net was maybe the thing that got us on that little run. But yeah, we always seem to struggle in the post-splits. And we also struggle against the lower teams in the league. As we see, we've got the wins against Livy and Kelly. We're way beyond us beating them. So it's always going to be a struggle in those games. Dundee and Aberdeen games were a little bit easier, but yeah, the other two were a bit of an issue.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, when you look at like the stats and all that, Scott, but 15 draws that season. 15. It's a hell of a lot of points left out there in some games.
Scott.
From winning positions. And I think in the end it was, including Simpson game, 24 points in the league that we dropped from winning positions. And it just, it felt like that was the difference really between a comfortable top 6 finish and what it ended up. I probably on the other side, and I think everyone's said about that 24 points, but looking at the flip side, we did pick up 20 points from being behind in games.
Yeah,
but it just felt like we were never comfortable holding on to leads late in games unless we had a 2-3 cushion.
Not sure what's happening.
Dave's in the Charlie Miller escape room tonight.
I know.
What's Halloween there?
Witness protection.
You can go and put your light on if you like. It's fine. Like, it's still a matter. You can put your light on. We have had some conversations. I've never seen video, but some of the people we've had, and
Willie Pettigrew, he was fond of a dark room as well.
it was
Strange the darkness to do, Willie.
Like I say, we'll go through we'll get some ratings for the season and that as well. But we spoke a lot about the players. Obviously, the ends and with the manager, the coach, whatever, I can't remember what his title is. But Paul, did Jim Goodwin get enough out of this squad?
He'll be frustrated, I would imagine. But purely from a defensive point of view, like the season did kind of peter out, but when you look at it, we were missing Fatah, we were missing Stevenson. They were two of our standout players at that time. So to take them out of the team, you're probably always going to struggle. But across the whole piece, it can only have been a frustration for Jim Goodwin, the defensive issues and the goalkeeping issues that just kept cropping up week after week after week. And it didn't seem he was stuck on this three at the back, but it didn't seem to matter what three it was. None of them really worked for any great length of time. And some of the goals that we lost, he must have been pulling his hair out.
He wasn't going to arse over tit this time for the right reason.
No,
I could imagine.
no.
But, right, we will come back to, we'll get some ratings and give out some Player of the Year awards and that, but we couldn't have the final episode without some fun. So you'll be delighted to hear, for the final time this season, the Paradise Test is here. Hurrah! I hear you cry.
That wasn't a hurrah you heard.
And everyone will have pens, paper and everything you need. You can play along at home. And each round, we'll ask the questions and then we'll go round the table and we'll get your answers, all right? So, player profile is round number 1. And I've got 4 of these for you. I was going to spoil you and do it really big, but we've just went with 4. So, born April 7th, 2003, an attacking midfielder, signed April 7th, 2019. His first manager was Robbie Neilson. He made 50 appearances and scored 4 goals. I will just give a caveat. I think 2 of these have been used before, but if Paul doesn't get them right, that's on him. So that's your first. I'll recap them though, so you're all right. Second one is born February 24th, 1964. A forward signed September 19th, 1991 for £350,000. Jim McLean paid for him. He played 35 times and scored 8 goals. Oh no, I've only got 3. I've lied to you. I've only got 3. And the final one, born January 2nd, 1974, a centre-half, signed October 9th, 1998 for £400,000. Paul Sturrock signed him. He went on to make 111 appearances, scored 2 goals. So I don't know what I've wrote for, but I've actually only given you 3. So first then, born April 7th, 2003, attacking midfielder, signed April 7th, 2019. Robbie Neilson signed him, or was his first manager. 50 appearances, 4 goals. Second one, born February 24th, 1964, a forward, signed by Jim McLean, September 19th, 1991 for £350,000. 35 appearances, 8 goals. And the third one, January 2nd, 1974, the centre-half was born. Paul Sturrock signed him October 9th, 1998, £400,000, 111 appearances and 2 goals. This is usually what happens on a Sunday. We now sit for like 2 minutes of Paul going, could be him, might be him. There's about 4 million guesses, but we'll easily.
I've only got one name. And that's for the last one.
All right, okay.
The first one, I'm going to kick myself because it's that recent. It's Robbie Neilson. I just can't think of who it is.
Right, so,
and the one that was signed by McLean, surely Dave will get that.
You'll get it. So the first then, April 7th, 2003, attacking midfielder. Robbie Neilson was his first manager. That's important, but April 7th, 2019, so his 16th birthday, 50 appearances, 4 goals. We'll go round to who says Paul. Are you going to stab at Andy? No, in that way.
The first one.
Yeah, we're going first thing. First.
I'm going to say Kai Fotheringham.
Dave?
I'm going Billy King.
Okay, Scott?
I was about to say Mockery, but that feels like it's too many appearances, so I think Paul might have it.
No, I think Mockery might have played 50 games actually. Look at Ronnie's smile.
The answer
might be.
It's Chris Mockery.
Yeah. Well done, Scott.
Right, second one. February 24th, 1964. Striker, signed September 19th, 1991. £350,000, 35 appearances, 8 goals. What are you going for, Dave?
Gary McSwain.
Scott?
91 would be too early for McSwagan.
Yeah, because he was the championship year, wasn't he? After we won the cup and got relegated.
Scott's Hardy Kent's out pad for time like Paul does on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't have a name for this one, Rhonda.
All right.
I'm I would go complete shot in the dark, but it's far too few appearances. I'd have said, well, in fact, that's too late as well. I was going to say Darren Jackson, but it's too late.
I thought him, but yeah, he played earlier.
It was
Yeah, dear under.
a man who loved blessing himself at Ibrox.
Victor Ferreira.
Victor Ferreira.
Victor.
And final one, born January 2nd, 1974, centre half. Paul Sturrock signed on £400,000, October 9th, 1998, 111 appearances, 2 goals. Who is he, Scott?
No, it's not me. Timing wise, the obvious one that comes to mind is DeVos.
Yep, that's where I'm going.
You're going DeVos, Dave?
Yeah, Jason DeVos, captain.
Jason DeVos round the table, correct.
Excellent.
There you go.
Teamwork.
This is great fun. Might not like this. So, round number 2. It's no games or goals. I was bringing it back, but no. All I want you to do is rank these 10 players in order of appearances made for United. Right? I'll give you a bonus if you tell us how many appearances they made. Your list of 10 is Alex Mathy, Arnaud Zoom, Billy King, Craig Slater, best goalie in the world, Derek Stilley, Fraser Aird, Jordi Briels, second best goalie in the world, Michal Shromnik, best centre half I've ever had, Paul Quinn, and tools doing himself, Ryan Edwards. Just look at the order. You can stab at the appearances. Alex Mathy, Arnaud Zoom, Billy King, Craig Slater, Derek Stilley, Fraser Aird, Jordi Briels, Michal Shromnik, Paul Quinn, and Ryan Edwards. How are you getting on, Paul, initially? Where's Paul Quinn on that list?
Paul Quinn. He's right at the bottom, exactly where he should be on Abdi's list. Paul Quinn, he must have played a bit. Okay. Ryan Edwards, he was over 100, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a gap between the first and the last in there.
He's a rare boy, couldn't have put a cross in. I loved the flute.
Loved the colour orange.
Fraser Aird.
Yeah. Alex Mathy, Arnaud Zoom, Billy King, Craig Slater, Derek Stilley, Fraser Aird, Jordi Briels, Michal Shromnik, Paul Quinn, and Ryan Edwards.
I'm getting Craig Slater and Curran mixed up. He was only on loan, really.
I mean, it's amazing you mentioned Craig Curran because he might appear in the next part of this question.
Right, okay.
Got your list, Paul?
I do, yeah.
All right, cool.
Just piecing it together, Rondo.
Right, okay. Mathy, Zoom, King, Slater. Imagine that team on a Saturday. Holy shit.
I would rather not.
Yeah. Oh, terrible. You'd need to be the 11th player, that's the worry. And we're playing with 2 goalies, we'll still get beat.
I'd still be a subby, let me tell you.
Paul Quinn and Ryan Edwards is your centre half. Holy shit.
Jeez, oh.
Right. So, do you want me to go for first or 10th? We'll start high.
So we'll see who we think played the first.
I'll just go through the list and you could cheer if you get it correct. And if you do, you take your top off. Clothing option.
Absolutely not.
The highest appearances on that list with 112 is Ryan Edwards.
I've got 110.
No, you got a bonus if you get the appearances. You're keeping your own score, so who knows what'll happen. Second on the list with 75 is Derek Stilley.
Yep, bang on, Rondo. I wonder how, because you mention him every bloody week.
Third on the list, 66 appearances, Billy King.
Billy King, yep.
Fourth on the list, half century, 50 appearances for Alex Mathy. Now it gets messy. Sixth is Paul Quinn with 19 appearances.
19.
19 too fucking many. Seventh on the list with 17 appearances is Arnaud Zoom.
17.
And shit. 8th on the list, 16 appearances, Jordi Briels.
I gave him 14.
14 is 9th, Michal Schromnik. And bottom of the pile with 9 appearances is Craig Slater.
You never mentioned Fraser Aird.
Fraser Aird was 5th with 22. Sorry, I was too excited to mention
22.
Paul Quinn. Sorry. So Ryan Edwards, Eric Stilley, Billy King, Alex Matthew, Fraser Aird, Paul Quinn, Arnold Hume, Jordi Briels, Schromnik, Slater.
Yeah, so. Middle of the road for me.
Maybe you'll get better on the second half of it. Rank these 10 players in the order of goals scored for United.
10 players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get a bonus if you get it right. Charlie Miller, Craig Curran, Jason Scotland, Jim Hamilton, Mark McNulty, Matthew Cudjoe, Super Mo himself, Morris Malpass, Tony Watt, Warren Feeney, and Zach Sapsford.
Wow.
What is the order there? It's a lot closer than what we had on the appearances. Charlie Miller, Craig Curran, Jason Scotland, Jim Hamilton, Mark McNulty, Matthew Cudjoe, Morris Malpass, Tony Watt, Warren Feeney, and Zach Sapsford. Where are you instantly drawn to, Paul?
I think it's a trick. I think Malpass might have scored the most.
No, it's up for you to work out.
Or Chico Miller.
I just asked the
Not
questions.
Sure. Yes. Craig Curran definitely didn't score the most. I think he scored 1.
Fucking dog shit, honey. Jesus. Charlie Miller, Craig Curran, Jason Scotland, Jim Hamilton, Mark McNulty, Cudjoe, Malpass, Watt, Feeney, and Sapsford. Nothing. You look set there, Paul. I think you've decided on your list. Oh,
I've put Scotland above Malpass.
okay. That's fine. Once we're ready, we'll go through it. Then are you all right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to start at the top again?
Go for it, Rondo.
Okay. Of those 10 players, the player who has scored the most is Morris Malpass.
How many?
26.
I gave him 20. Sorry, Superman.
Second is Tony Watt with 20.
Wow.
Yeah. Charlie Miller's third with 19.
Got that one.
Jim Hamilton's fourth with 17.
Cheesy Peeps, what has Scotland ever scored for us?
Fifth is Zach Sapsford with 11. Jason Scotland is sixth with 10.
10.
Seventh, Mark McNulty with 8. Warren Feeney is 8th with 6. Matthew Cudjoe with 5. And Craig Curran right at the bottom. According to our archive, he scored 3.
3 goals?
He was
definitely
regardless.
Training, exactly.
So, Malpass, Watt, Miller, Hamilton, Sapsford, Scotland, McNulty, Feeney, Cudjoe, and Craig Curran.
I was hopeless in that round, Rondo.
Well, you might be better.
4 out of 10 for me on that one.
That's all right. Quick fire questions, though. This is where you'll get your money back, lads. Just write your answer down, then we'll come back to them. 5 questions. United had 1 month this season. They played 7 league games and only lost once. What month was it?
Do we shout it out?
Write it down.
Write it down?
This shout out. One of the boys might claim it.
Okay.
Question 2. Who scored the goals for United in both Celtic wins? Question 3. United scored 49 goals in the league this season. How many of these were at home? Question 4, which player made the most appearances for United this season? Question 5 is probably the banker of the lot of them. Which player picked up the most bookings? And for a bonus point, how many did he get? So question 1, United had 1 month this season. They played 7 league games, only lost once. Which month was that? Question 2, who scored the goals for United in both Celtic wins? Question 3, United scored 49 goals in the league this season. How many were at home? Question 4, which player made the most appearances for United this season? And question 5, which player picked up the most bookings? And for a bonus, how many did he get? So, which month did United only play 7 and only lose once, Paul?
December?
Dave?
October.
Scott?
I went December as well.
Correct, December. Yep.
Come on, Dave.
God. Who scored the goals for United in both Celtic wins, Dave?
Satsford, Sibbald, Ferry and McGee.
Okay. Scott?
I was forgetting, man. I had Sapsford, Sibbald, and I had Sapsford, Fata, and Ferry.
Paul?
And yep, I've got Fatah, Zach, Ferry, Mane.
Who scored the goals for United in both Celtic wins? Mane, Ferry,
Yep.
Sapsford, and the last thing is just disappeared.
Oh, Kerristed.
Christian Kerestes. There you go.
Kerristed. So it was.
Scored the first against Celtic in the December match. United scored 49 goals in the league this season. How many of those were at home, Scott?
I went 29.
Right. Scott? Dave?
26.
Paul?
30.
Optimistic. 24. It was almost bang even, yeah. Which player made the most appearances for United this season, Paul?
Kerristed.
Okay. Scott?
I went Ferry.
Dave?
I was going to say Vishko, but Kamara.
Player that makes the most appearances for United, including starts, it was 45 appearances, 37 starts for Zach Sapsford.
Sapsford. No wonder he was knackered.
Correct. And which player picked up the most bookings and how many in total, Paul?
I've got Vichko, but I think I'm wildly off with it.
How many?
11.
Okay. Dave?
Ferry.
How many?
7.
Scott? Pure
Yuri.
And how many?
Big Yuri. It's got to be Big Yuri.
12.
I went with 9.
12.
Big Yuri.
12.
Got to be Big Yuri.
Yeah.
How could we forget?
Correct.
You just booked him in the tunnel to get out and done with.
Couldn't believe either. And our final game, because Paul likes it so much, is Who Am I? But it's a short one-line clue about every player. First one is, I was subbed at half-time at McDermott Park on my only appearance for United. Who am I?
Oh, are we writing this down?
You're right, you're doing that. Don't give them answers. This will end up in commentary notes next season.
The commentators will get that in.
You don't think so?
No doubt. No pressure, though.
Number 2, I am the only Royal to win a cup with United. Who am I?
Only Royal. Is this a trick question? Is that how you're laughing?
Up to you to work that out.
I'm going to give you a trick answer.
Number 3, I was top scorer for United in both the 2013-14 and the 2014-15 season. Who am I? Number 4 is I am United's most capped international player.
Most caps while he was with United.
He is United. If you look at the international caps for a player that played for United, he is the most capped international.
Ah, okay. That changes it then.
Oh, okay.
Wildly.
And I was the last player to score a hat-trick for United. Who am I?
Last hat-trick.
Yeah. So subbed at half-time at McDermott Park, only appearance for United. The only Royal to win a cup with United. I was the top scorer in both the 13-14 and 14-15 season. I am United's most capped international player, and I was the last player to score a hat-trick for United, so 5 different ones. So, Paul, who was subbed at half-time at McDermott?
Tim Akinola.
Correct. He was. The only Royal to win a cup with United, Scott.
Prince Boabin.
Correct.
I went Noel Hunt because the Reading were the Royals. And, you would have thought he'd scored the winner that day.
Well, he would have. I was the top scorer for United in both the 13-14 and the 14-15 season, Dave.
No idea.
Paul?
Nadir.
Correct. Nadir, Chief.
Nadir.
Well, we'll see what your answers are for this. United's most capped international player, Scott. Who are you going for?
See, you've thrown me. I was hoping you were going to say Nat Williams with United, and I was going to say Mo, but there's somebody that's obviously crossed our paths that's got a stack of caps somewhere.
That's the route I went down.
I can only take the answer that I found. And if you'd said Super Mo, I'd have gave you a point. Because that's what's listed on any place you look.
Can I tell you what I wrote down as well?
Oh, go on. This will be a laugh.
Kawashima.
Oh,
He played about 800 times for Japan.
Yeah. When you search it, it's Super Mo that comes up. So.
Yeah. I had Super Mo, and then when you started fussing about with your clues the way you always do, I thought, it's obviously not him.
So who was the last player to score a hat-trick for United? I think you go round the houses on this end, Paul.
Tony Watt.
Dave?
Tony Watt.
Scott?
Tony Watt.
It was against Partick Thistle, and it was fucking Sub-Zero. Fucking.
Then he done the chicken dance.
Was that? Fuck it. Right, so there you go.
Something about Partick, because Kevin Holt did it against Partick as well.
That's right, yeah.
Tattyfield, if I remember right. So, the fun is over. But anyway, this is usually the bit when we have a bit of transfer hit, miss, or maybe. Or the hit, did they miss the mark? Or were they all right? That's kind of what we're doing. We'll stick a name out and then we'll just go around and say what we think. They are in order of signing. So, Zach Sapsford, Paul. Easy.
Yeah, I think he was a hit.
Yeah.
I think he started very well and he ended not too bad. There was a dip in the middle, but I think everything that we've heard from within the club is basically it was his first big season. He played more than he's ever played before, and as you've just said, he was the guy that made the most appearances, so you can kind of forgive the dip in form.
Yeah.
I think he's been a hit.
Yeah. We'll agree hit all round. I would think so.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Started well.
Sorry that he.
Sorry, Scott. Started well, and I think he got quiet in the middle because he was tired too. Yeah. They just finished the season and came back. So
yeah.
So I feel sorry for him that he didn't make the Aussie squad, but I think we'll see a lot more from him next season if he gets a rest over the summer.
Yeah. Right, Paul. Next name, Yuri Yovu, the most booked man.
Yeah, slow burner. I still think he's a bit rash, but I think there's definitely something there to work with. I think he got better as the season went on. And he's still young, isn't he? He's the early 20s as well.
Yeah.
Big old boy.
Is that a hit or is that a maybe? You just know 100%.
No, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it's a hit. Yeah. It's a hit for me.
Yeah. Scott?
I'm going to say the same. I'm thinking we've probably not seen the best of him yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on that basis, I'd say a hit.
Yeah. All right.
But on the basis of the last season alone, I'd say a maybe.
Yeah. Dave, I'm going to throw Pan Kamara at you.
yeah, I think he was a hit. Solid player, good ball carrier, wins his tackles and retains possession, but he could be a bit erratic and could lose the shape at times in the game. So I think he's a plus, but you can see how Manny has picked the floor on. He's much more structured than that middle of the park. But yeah, Pan was good. Gave us that energy we needed in midfield.
Yeah. Paul, he was fine and then he lost his place.
Yeah. I would say overall it's a hit, definitely. But he was outstanding at the start of the season.
Yeah.
You felt really confident and comfortable when you saw his name. In fact, he was probably one of the first names on the team sheet. he kind of had a wee bit of a dip, although I think he was nursing an injury as well at points during the season. The travel back and forward for representing his country as well maybe played a wee part in it. But no, I think he was a good signing.
Yeah. Kucherenko's a miss around the houses, I'm assuming. Yeah.
It's a frustrating one because I think there was something there.
Yeah. But again,
you can't go with your keeper that punches the bar and he's net out of the
it's
time.
like I was saying earlier on, at one point it just got to, he has to come out. You've just got to protect him, you know what I mean? One that might be on the fence, depending how you look at it, Scott, Bert Esselink.
Yes, it was strange to see him come back in at the end of the season because I think it was at the start of the season I thought he did very well.
Mm-hmm.
He looked really assured, looked like he read the game brilliantly, and even though he's not the quickest, you thought he gains a couple of yards in the way he's reading it here.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he lost his confidence because that was the Celtic game and then the derby at New Year. He kind of got done a couple of times then as well. And I don't know if it was maybe lost his confidence, maybe he's been carrying something, maybe he's gone and worked on something because he just didn't really feature again with that until he comes back in and we get a clean sheet against Livy.
Yeah. Paul, where are we with Dario Namo?
He's still a bit of an unknown. Like he came in. The one game that sticks in my head is when Will Ferry was out away at Hearts. Dario came in and I thought he was excellent. He was never going to give you everything that Will Ferry gives you, but he was very good on that day. And you've seen that he's very versatile. Like Goodwin's employed him in a number of positions. I'm not a big fan of seeing him anywhere near the top end of the park as yet. I prefer him being in more a defensive role. But he's definitely one for the future, and the brief glimpses that we've seen of him, and it was an injury hit season for him as well. Yeah. I think he showed up fairly well.
This will be an easy end, Dave. Amar Fatah.
Amar, what a find. Not really fit when he joined up. I think he was a wee bit behind the rest of the players, but once he settled in, I think he was. You can see how teams have paid a lot of money for him. He'd been at Man City, across in France. Easily the best of the new loanees that came in this season. Easily the best.
100%. I'll put this into Paul because his reaction will be class. Christian Carestes. The stats don't lie, Paul. You've seen it today. I showed you.
The stats only tell you what they want to tell you, Rondo. He has, on the face of it, he has everything to be an excellent defender at our level. But for whatever reason, he switches off, he thinks it's too easy, and he lets himself in the team down.
Yeah.
He's had moments of being excellent in games, and then in the same game, he just powers down, switches off, and the opposition get a chance, or they score a goal. And you're left thinking, what makes this boy tick? Because we need to find it, but I don't think we ever did for a sustained period of time.
Yeah. Scott, the season started really well for Max Waters, but it just never. He went too long probably without getting an extra couple of goals, I think, for a striker.
Yeah, I think so. We go back to the very start, and you said first league goal, and we got the 2 against Rapid Vienna. Would have had a chance for more, and still going into that game, I think a massive part of that game was Zach getting injured just before half time because he earned the penalty. The movement up front was just something else that first half. And then obviously it changed second half, and we struggled to see the best of Max goal scoring wise after that, really.
He got injured in the next game. He got injured in the Killie.
That's right, the Killie game, that's right. And we saw glimpses of what we'd seen early on. I think the Rangers game, his running was really good. He looked like he was a man with something to prove. Yeah. And he came off the bench and his running was really, really good.
Was involved in Henderson getting sent off at Falkirk as well, just for his pure running, really.
But he missed a lot of chances later on in the season. That one at Pittodrie towards the end, where it just broke to him, and a lovely little touch from Eskison. And you thought, right, okay, just looked like he was taking all his frustration and anger out on the ball, and got right underneath it and was leaning back. Undoubtedly a player that likes to play on the shoulder. I think at times he maybe looked from his movement like he wasn't giving 100% at all times, but equally I think the type of player he is, he conserves his energy, and once the defenders start breaking forward, he's in the mould of, right, okay, this is where I recharge and I'm ready to go the next time. But I don't know if that's the type of striker that we can have right now.
Yeah. Next up, Paul, is the curious case of Ivan Dolce.
Yeah, that's a strange one. Like it feels in some ways like it's one that got away. I think, and I mentioned it last week, Rondo. I think there's been a failure probably on both sides. Like we've failed to get the best out of him, but he's probably failed to get the best out of himself as well. The deficiencies were there early doors. I can remember me and you, we weren't arguing, but we disagreed. Like in the 2-0 derby, the first derby win of the season, I was saying to you, I would have took him off because like he was offering nothing defensively, which when you're in a Jim Goodwin side, like he wants you to knock your pan in both directions of the game, and he just wasn't really for doing that. That wasn't his strength, but his strengths were very good. Like he brought a lot to the team when he was going forward, carrying the ball, and he could create chances and he could take chances. But I think he just lost the trust of the manager early doors, like within, I think, probably round about just after the Aberdeen game when we won 2-0 at home, around about October time, he just seemed to fall out of the team. And similar to Bert, when he fell out of the team, he barely got a look in after that.
We were desperate to sign him as well, but
yeah, that's when it started going wrong.
Yeah, Dave, it was another solid campaign for Lucas Stevenson.
Yeah, he is what's on the tin, isn't he? He just gives you everything. Doesn't matter what position he's playing in, whether it's right back, wing back, centre mid. He's got an eye for goal as well. Doesn't give up. He seems to get injured in every game, but carries on. He's just an all-rounder. That was a great thing for Jim Goodwin to secure him for another season. It'll make him a stronger player when he goes back down south. There's no chance he'll be back up here to see us again. But he felt part of it. You could see that he took to the fans, he took to the club. It's made him a better player. Whether he makes it at Liverpool will be another matter, but the way they're playing, he could well walk into that side. They've struggled at right back. But yeah, he'll definitely play for the top side down there going forward. Great young player.
Another one, spot that we've not seen much of, a couple of cameos here and there, Julius Eskison.
Yeah, I think Julius was really good when he got his chances, but he didn't get enough of them. I think what he's got to do is find a position and make it his, whether it's a number 10 or whatever. But there's a bit of a question mark around there. I think there is a player there. Sorry, Scott, talk to you there, pal.
Yeah, that's all right. No, I think we're all agreed there's something there. I don't know if maybe it's the 5XL's come down to 3XL, but it looks like he's been putting the work in the gym a wee bit the last few games of the season. Not least when he's willing to go head first into challenges in the Livy game and throw himself in. It looks like he wants to suit Scottish football, and he wants to get himself into a position where it'll work for him here. The formations that Jim Goodwin's playing, I don't know whether he'll fit in constantly. Certainly he's not an 8. He's definitely a 10, and a 4-2-3-1 would work for him. Whether he can play as a 10 and 2 10s behind the striker.
Double 10, Scott. That's what we need.
No.
Double 10s.
This year.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating one. But, Paul, the player trading model worked. Nikolai Muller sold for 700 grand.
Rondo, sometimes in life it's better being lucky than good. Okay, how we managed, if indeed we did manage to get that amount for Nikolai Muller, then we've done incredibly well. When he first came in, he looked like a lot of players, like he had something. He might be a wee bit of a difference maker, a different point of attack for us, a focus up there. but it never really materialised into anything at all. And I think if it had been 70 grand that was offered, fans probably would have been happy enough with that. So the rumoured fee of 700 grand, I'll see when the accounts come out next year if I believe that or not.
Well,
That's a lot of money for him.
I'll take you for that low then to Manny Agee's first 4-5 month at United.
Yeah, he's been outstanding, hasn't he? He has been absolutely. Because he's our player, you could maybe argue he's the find of the season. Like Amar Fatah is another level, but Manny Agee was just absolutely brilliant ever since he came in. And he came in at a difficult time because it was halfway through a season. We were playing on a tatty field, and he just got on with it. He just the sort of guy who just rolls his sleeves up, gets on with it. And when he came in as well, you'll remember, like people were saying, he's played X amount of games this season, all these bookends, a couple of red cards, and you're thinking, Christ, this is not going to go well with Scottish refs and VAR. But he was fantastic. Like, albeit he picked up a red card at Pittodrie. But the ref wasn't great that day either, we could say. But what he's offered the team, he's been brilliant. And it kind of felt like him and Vichko, as much as we criticised the 3-4-3, it kind of felt like when they two were paired together in the middle, it worked. You could see the light bulb moment in Jim Goodwin's head for the side of the pitch thinking, this is what I've been trying to do all season, because it did work in a good few games.
Yeah. I suppose, Dave, but given he's not been retained, Ashley Maynard Brewer has to go down as a miss. He done a job enough, but then injury didn't help.
Yeah, I think when Maynard Brewer came, the feedback we were getting for the Charlton fans were good shot stopper, not so good on crosses, and distribution's quite good. And his first few games, everything that got deflected went past him and in the net. You'd never had much of a chance, and it made it look as though he's probably a poorer goalkeeper than he was. I think Paul mentioned earlier that the goal at Rangers at Ibrox, when he tried to put over the bar, he was just that bit short of getting there, and it just landed perfect, and then he got injured in that same game. It's probably not went the way he wanted it to go. It's not went the way we wanted it to go, but I think it's probably right that he isn't retained. I think there'll be better out there. A lot of rumour about Jack Walton and the opportunity to get him back. I know he's out on loan from his parent company. He's still got 2 years on his contract, which is a big step. But, somebody like Jack Walton coming back in wouldn't be a bad thing. Knows football, knows the club. You know what you're going to get with him. Hopefully he's going to bring that stability to the back line if it was him.
Yeah. And Paul mentioned earlier, Scott, that 3 players coming in January. Probably didn't know much about them, but Neil Ferrucci's done all right.
Yeah, I think the way he carries the ball, he can carry the ball, he can get us up the park pretty quickly. And you're reading about him before he played, and you thought, okay, he's a left-sided player, he can play wide. Is this somebody that's basically going to be a deputy for Will Ferry if he's missing for any reason? But I think the times he's played there, you take something out of his game. And I think, there's a lot of people not up for having wingers playing on opposite sides and everything else. But the times we've seen him, that's where he is best. He's kind of carrying the ball, cutting inside. We've seen a couple of decent through balls from him as well. So again, hopefully a full pre-season with us, getting to know his teammates. There's more to see from him next season.
Yeah. Well, last but by no means least, Johnny Russell.
Yeah, it wasn't a hit, was it? Let's be honest. I would have loved it to have been a hit, and if I'm dishing out contracts, I'm probably still keeping him around for another year, just for the influence alone. Obviously, like if the money works, you don't know what he's getting paid and what he's wanting, but it just didn't work out the way that anybody wanted it to work out. I think he picked up a wee niggle as well, which clearly limited his potential for getting. Yeah. So, yeah, it didn't really work out. Personally, in the last game of the season, which I moaned about at length last weekend, I would have liked to have seen him start the game just as, if he was going, just as a farewell to the fans. That wasn't to be. And sadly, he's been told he's not getting a new contract.
Yeah, just moving on to that. Obviously, we've been caught out by doing this, and then the release list comes out, but we have got it now. Stibbled, we knew about, Ryan Strain, Ashley Maynard Brewer, Johnny Russell, Christian Trapanovsky are not being renewed. All the loanees are returning their parent clubs. Paul, you'll be delighted to hear we've still got an option on Christian Carestes and Ivan Dolchik. And Academy graduates Lewis O'Donnell, Harry Welsh, Lewis Haldane, Calvin Beattie moving on. Paul, start with you. Any shocks at all on that list?
No, not really. Not really. There's none. But you don't know too much about the younger guys. You feel sorry for them. They're just at the start of their careers. That must be a major setback for them, you would imagine. But they've all got something that they can hopefully pick up another team, because when you're going from United, it's not like you're starting at the bottom. So they can drop down a level or two and build their way back up. But the ones that we've released, no. I think I was probably surprised that Dave Richards wasn't on the list, because he is out of contract. So I'm surprised that we're obviously looking to retain him. That's not something I would be doing personally. And it's absolutely nothing against him, because apparently behind the scenes he's the loveliest guy. But just all season we've seen errors from all the keepers, and even on Sunday in the dead rubber against St Mirren, he chucked one in, and I know it was offside, but we need a reliability between the sticks next season. We can't keep going on selling the jerseys week after week. Yeah,
anyone on that's not on that list that you think should be are still in discussion. So that's the line at the moment. But if you were dishing the contracts out, Dave, is there any of them you're kept on, or any loans you'd be keeping that were realistic?
Yeah, well, from a loan perspective, certainly there's a couple of names there that I mentioned. If I think we would be silly not to take up if we were able to get another year out of them. I think Jim Goodwin had enough opportunity to see that what formation he was trying to play, the players he had didn't fit in there until Manny came in that midfield and alongside Visco. Visco's not a defender, he's a stopper in that middle of the park. I know he could go back and play there, but he's comfortable in that middle. And when he's got Manny alongside him doing a lot of running, that's a good foundation to build on. Yeah. I hark back to, the Craig Levine, where he's got the big spine of the sides, right? The big goalkeeper, the big centre halves, the strong midfielders, and the big forward up front. He built his team around that. That was the frame that he built on. And, Jim Goodwin, if he can get that to click, then, we'll see better days in the coming season, I think.
Yeah, again, Scott, it's another rebuild on the manager's hands.
Yeah, maybe less so than the last couple of summers. But, we already know the three guys that are coming from the A-League. Again, whether that's part of the thinking on those who have been released, knowing that we've got another right wing back coming in, we've got a couple of forwards coming in, whether that's wide or through the middle. Maybe that's in the thinking as well. And as with everyone, you hit the summer and you want to start seeing names linked and starting to see, what's this guy, who is it, and maybe sometime based on the markets that we can operate in, it's maybe more exciting when it's somebody you've not heard of, because you're hoping that you find a kind of hidden gem somewhere. But I think with what's happened this season, I think a lot of fans would be looking and maybe a bit satisfied if they see one or two names that they are more aware of, that they think, right, okay, this isn't somebody that's going to come in and we're going to sell for multi-millions in 3 years' time, but it's somebody that we think is going to be a 7 out of 10 every week.
No, you can't get enough of them either. We could be here all night when you start speaking tactics, double tens and all that, but we'll hand out some imaginary awards as we get to the end of this, because they're the only awards we can dish out here. Some of these might be really obvious. Some of them might split your opinions. We'll start, Paul. Favourite game of the season?
It's got to be a derby one. Like, I think the most enjoyable one was the Hibs 3-all, but because we didn't win it and we chucked it away, I'm going to have to say the 3-0 derby one recently.
That's a good one. Dave?
Love a derby.
I think it's got to be the Celtic one to come back from 1-0 down and to win 2-0 against Celtic. At any time's good, but we really needed that victory because we're not having a great time of it. So yeah, I think that turned the season. I'm getting used to beating Dundee, so a Celtic win's got to be up there.
Scott?
If you can take away the disappointment at the end, probably right back to the Rapid Vienna game. I think, maybe even the away game, because I don't think many folk gave us a chance of getting a result over there.
Yeah.
So to have shown up the way we did and come back with everything still on the line, and it was sliding doors moments. You wonder what that could have led to if we'd gone there, because I can't remember who they picked up in the next qualifying round, but you kind of thought, we might have fancied our chances there, and could have got into a group stage.
Yeah.
And that could have been a game changer. But yeah, the Celtic and the derby win, definitely up there as well.
Good times. Paul, worst game of the season?
Christ almighty, Rondo. Worst game?
You've watched a few.
That's what I mean. It's a big list. Probably Falkirk at home, 3-0. That was just terrible. And I'm sure that the other gents will have a rival for that game, but that was pretty bad.
Dave?
I think chasing Motherwell around the park and getting no place was pretty hard one to watch. It's probably the worst game, but it was probably the one that we're so frustrated about. Could hardly get a touch of the ball. Should have actually threw another multi-ball system. Should have been fully in use that night. So we got at least a touch of one of them.
Scott, you got one that'll rival any of them?
It's probably not a surprising one in the way it went, but disappointment-wise, probably Celtic in January. Because it just felt early on like that was it. Job done, game's gone, nothing's happening here that can get us back into it. In terms of quality of football over 90 minutes, there's for both teams, there's a couple of the 0-0s would be up there as well.
Yeah. Paul, biggest surprise? Could be a game, could be a player, could be anything. What surprised you the most this season?
You had told me at the start of the season we'd have beat Celtic twice. I probably wouldn't have believed you. So that would be the biggest surprise.
After that, yeah. Dave?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much along the same lines, but for some crazy decisions, Celtic and Rangers games were a bit closer this season. 2 wins against Celtic, 2 draws against Rangers, which could have been wins, would have been a fantastic return. So yeah, it's we know what we get when we play against them. It's always going to be a difficult watch. It's going to be a difficult lead up to it. Yep. And to have a smile on your face at least after a couple of those games is good.
Yeah. Anything to rival that, Scott?
I think if you were to have said after the Aberdeen game in September that we wouldn't see Dolchek score again for the rest of the season, that would have been a massive surprise for everyone. I think maybe one of the biggest surprise though is for the several hundreds D fans leaving with their team 2-0 down to get home and find out they've got a point for the game.
That'll always make you laugh. Biggest disappointment, Paul?
You know what, again, to touch on what Scott just said, probably Dolchek, because at the start of the season, he was in the run for the Ballon d'Or, Rondo, and then he couldn't get a game. It was just the drop-off and where he was, to the way that it just all petered out. it was staggering, really. So that's probably the disappointment, that we just didn't find a way, and he also didn't find a way to get the best out of himself.
Yeah. Anything to go against that, Dave?
Yeah, I think the injury to Isaac Papo was a big disappointment. I thought the few games we managed to see him on the park, I thought he was calm on the ball, always looking to take it for a teammate, always found himself in a bit of space. And even when he was under pressure, it wasn't just a thrash up the park. He tried to play his way out, and 9 times out of 10 he did it. I was looking forward to seeing him this season, and that was rudely taken away in a pretty crude challenge, although I wasn't penalised at the time. I think it was a yellow card or something, but the force on that knee twisted right around, and it was really bad. So I feel sorry for the young man to have that opportunity to play over here, and we never got to really see him at his best.
Yeah. What about you, Scott? What's Papo and Dolchik there as disappointment?
Yeah, I think if we look for a silver lining, maybe if Papo had been fit the whole season, maybe Manny doesn't come in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On the flip side, maybe if Papo's rehab goes okay and he maybe feels there's unfinished business, could you imagine the two of them and sitting in the midfield together?
Oh, aye.
From what we saw at Papo.
Yeah.
Other disappointment, that first 20 minutes at Falkirk in the cup quarter final.
Yeah, terrible. One name, Paul. Don't have to tell me why. Best signing.
Probably Manny.
Yeah, Dave.
Well, Amar on his loan, really came to the fore once he got settled in. He was lightweight when he started. He didn't look as though he was fit to me. But once he got himself fit, he was the danger from United, and teams picked up on that pretty quick.
Yeah.
He was targeted. He looked as though if we were going to unlock a defence, it would be through him. Great skill. For me, between him, probably as well, I like getting Luca back as well. That gave us that boost. Again, the stability that we needed. So, but I think probably Fata just picked it there.
Scott?
Agree with both of them, but probably one that's not under the radar, but Sapsford as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still early 20s, most appearances this season. He top scorer this season in the end.
Yeah.
So it's probably more that we can look forward to from him as well.
100%. Paul, goal of the season.
For me, it was Fataz against Killy.
Yeah.
That was just brilliant. I know that didn't win the official one, but that was my favourite.
Dave?
I think, is that the one with Dolchik playing the ball through for Fatah to run on and score? No.
I
can't remember.
Hibs one's
I'll be honest.
Might be Livy.
Involved.
Another Livy at home. I think that was a good break and a lovely pass. Dolchik was just on as a subby. Wasn't really up to speed of the game, but good eye, quick pass forward. Fatah just takes it up, past the goalkeeper, and United secure the points.
Class. Scott?
I think the Fatah one that Paul was mentioning, I think that probably, to me, shades it, I think, worthy mention for the Sibbald one at Ibrox.
Yep.
No. I think welfare against Dundee, first in. Lima. These might be easier ones. These are our final ones. The young player of the season, Paul. Now, you can decide how old a young player is. I always thought it was 21 and under, but it seems like it's a wee bit older now. But young player.
I think it's Amar.
Amar?
I think it's got to be Amar, yeah.
And who's your player of the season then? He can win both, I'm just saying.
I'm going to say Will Ferry.
Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Amar was the best young player we had on the park, and as I said earlier, Will Ferry stood up as vice captain when Ross Graham was out, dragged that team down the park umpteen times, and as Scott mentioned, became a goal scoring machine near the end, and all important goals. And when you can score on your knees and put the goalkeeper the wrong way, it becomes a fine art. So it'll be the same. Flatter and Ferry.
Yeah. And Scott, are you going to upset the apple cart here?
Go unanimous. No, I think that's pretty unanimous on that one. I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Fata, if we got the chance of bringing him back again, then I think everyone would be itching to see it. And likewise, in terms of Will Ferry, does he ever stop running?
Unbelievable. He's probably still running now. To a bar, I imagine. But Paul, marks out of 10 for the season.
I would say it's a bit middle of the road. Rondo, it's probably a 5. It's not been a disaster of a season. Like, we've seen them, and they end up with us in the championship, and it was never really. Although at times we kind of were starting to look more down the way than up the way, and never really felt like we were in that much danger. But we were just always a day late and a dollar short, pretty much all season. So I'd take a 5 out of 10.
Scott?
Similar, middle of the road, but I think you're looking at the table. Any normal season, you'd say you're never going to be top 2. Probably with what happened this season, we weren't going to be top 3. So you're looking at 4th to 12th being your range. I'd maybe say 6 out of 10. I think if you'd swapped last season and this season round, you'd get a completely different picture and say, "Wow, that's great, steady progress, promotion." Yeah. Finish 7th, then go and finish 4th. You'd be saying, "Wow, this is a real kind of journey that we're on." I think what we've seen with Rowan Eyes though is that it just wasn't there this season as we wanted it.
Yeah. And Dave?
I'm looking very positive just now. I'm saying 7, and the reason I'm saying that is we lost less league games this season. So we lost 15 last season and we've lost 13 in this one. Obviously, we almost doubled the draws from 8 to 15, which is the downside of it. To lose less goals and the defence beats us, all at sea at times. It's quite remarkable. But yeah, I think it's not a full rebuild. It's close to it. Yeah. But I think there's a base now, rather than building on what was like a marked up championship side that came in the first year that did well. This is a side that's the first footprints down. Now we need to build on it. This is the one that will count for Jim Goodwin, I think. Yeah. It's going to be one that he'll be measured on. He's done the second season with his own players again. Let's see how it goes. I'm thinking positively. The new players that are coming in, the ones that are leaving, and another set of names to come, I think we'll be in a better position to come the end of next season.
Yeah, absolutely. That is it. The curtain comes down on another season. Our thanks to Dave Hill and Scott Simpson for being part of our discussion this week. And thank you, the listeners, without which there is no podcast. Have a brilliant summer. Enjoy Scotland winning the World Cup. We'll be back on July the 6th for another season of complete nonsense and made-up rumours. Tickets for our evening with the captains are on sale. You can get them at dodefoxpodcast.com. And as always, don't forget to wash your hands and your arsehole.